A very good afternoon, dear participants, and our esteemed speaker of the day. Good afternoon, sir. Sarathi, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am.
You're not audible, sir.
Am I audible now?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. With your permission, we'll shortly start the session. Participants are joining. We will take 5 minutes and then start the session.
Sure.
You can meet co-host to present your PPT. We'll start the session in 5 minutes.
Ma'am, I don't see the option to present. Have you enabled me as a presenter?
Yes, sir. You are given co-host permissions. You should be able to share your PPT.
Yep, I can see it now.
Right. Thank you.
I think you're able to see my background. Let me just start presentation as well. So that.
No, we are not able to see your presentation.
Yeah, 1 second. Give me a second. I'm doing it right away.
Screen sharing has just started.
Can you confirm if you can see the first slide, title
Yes.
slide, cloud computing?
Yes,
Okay.
we are.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm good to start. Let me know when we can start.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Give us 2 minutes. Participants are joining. 2 minutes. We will have first the introduction and then we will start. Give us just 2 minutes.
Sure.
Our esteemed speaker of the day, Sardi sir, we will start the session with your permission.
Yep, please.
Yeah, thank you. Dear participants, a warm welcome to day 3 of the 6-day ATAL online FDP on upskilling faculty for future ready education in Industry 4.2. First and second days, we had introduction and pillars of Industry 4.2. And then we also had in brief yesterday about cyber physical systems. We also had a session on big data and analytics. That is what we have covered, sir, for your reference also in the last 2 days. Dear participants, today is the third day of our 6-day learning journey. And today we would be having cloud computing by Mr. Vijay Sarathi Chunduri from Microsoft. And the next session would be from Professor Chetan Srivastava on IoT in education and industry. So that was the brief recap of what we have done and what we are going to do today. I welcome one and all to this particular online FTP of day 3. And now, without wasting much time, may I request Ms. V. Mary Francina, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Management, Rishi UBR Women's College, to briefly introduce the speaker. Ma'am, please.
Ma'am, I'm visible and audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon, one and all. I, V. Mary Francina, Assistant Professor from Department of Business Management from Rishi UBR Women's College. I would take an immense pleasure in inviting Mr. Vijay Sarathi Chunduri Garu. Sarathi Chunduri Garu has extensive experience in the field of software development with a strong focus on web technologies and cloud computing. Sarathi sir delivered various projects involving the development and deployment of scalable web applications and cloud-based solutions. Sarathi sir has hands-on experience in migrating on-prem applications to cloud, designing cloud-native systems, along with re-architecting monolith systems into microservices-based architecture. Sarathi sir is proficient in multiple programming languages, including Java, C#, Python, JavaScript, and TypeScript. Sir has a deep understanding of frameworks such as Java, .NET, Angular, and React. Sarathi sir holds a bachelor degree in science from Andhra University and has an executive MBA in strategic management from IIM Kozhikode. Sarathi sir has been recognized for their contribution to several successful projects, resulting in multi-million-dollar savings over 2 decades. Sir has received awards for innovations and excellence in software development. Sarathi sir is currently working as Principal Software Engineering Manager at Microsoft, responsible for transforming Microsoft $8 billion business. Sir, we welcome you for the session, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the grand welcome, ma'am. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, sir.
Thank you, Francina ma'am. Sir, it's a pleasure having you today on board with us for this particular session because you have a decade experience in this particular field. It's our esteemed pleasure. It's all yours, sir. You can start the session. Thank you so much. Handing it over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, about 119 participants. So that's an overwhelming, participation. So first of all, I think doing this session to faculty, I would like to thank you all and wish you a happy Teachers' Day. Just last week we celebrated. Guru is the first person. So thank you all for being in the profession and bottom of my heart. It's a profession where you would actually expect excellence, not just money. That's almost like secondary or tertiary in the profession. And thank you all for your service to the country and to the knowledge world out there. So really appreciate you all, getting into this what we call it as noble profession, right? So thank you for taking care of that. So today we're going to cover about cloud computing, some of the concepts most of you might be aware, or some of the concepts or the outcomes of the concepts or the implementation of the concepts you would have been benefited for, right? So we'll try to delve deeper into in terms of how did it come, why is it there in the first place, And then later trying to see in terms of how does it help organizations, get both savings as well as, run their business at the same time, bring in innovative solutions to their customers, and focusing on in terms of what does it mean, people in your profession, in the faculty, in their, teaching and research positions, right? What and how do you get benefited from some of these things, right? So let's get started. I hope the screen is visible and shared. So cool. Just a forward before I get started. It's a complaint from Microsoft because I'm the full-time employee of Microsoft. So we have to, look at any views or any content that I'm presenting here. Any examples that are shared are, coming from my personal experience of working in the industry as well as with Microsoft for about 22 years now. So this is something that is completely, my personal opinion, and obviously this does not represent anything what Microsoft does. So all the content is basically is something that I've, created and curated. So this is not something that is owned or represents any which way of what Microsoft does. Yeah. So with that, let's get into. So today we have about 90 minutes. I leave about 15 minutes for the Q&A, depending on how the session goes, and feel free to ask questions, type in the chat. We have moderators who would actually look at, and then we can also see how we can help answer some of these questions. I would request you to type your question if possible, because some of your questions may get answered in the following slides. But yeah, keep the curiosity on, wear your curious hats, and then let's look at how we can learn together. By no means I'm an expert in this area. Happen to be in this area and working on some of these things. So what I'm going to share are my personal experiences in going through, some of the journeys that we went both in Microsoft and outside, and then some wisdom that is, captured and curated from what happened in the rest of the companies in the industry. Right. So we'll look into what is cloud computing. We'll look at the fundamentals of cloud computing, when how the industry looks at it, at broader level. Why cloud computing? How does it bring in business agility and scalability? Specifically focusing on SaaS. And then how do we look at cost optimization and operational efficiencies, right? So how does it help the industries and also the companies as well as the individuals to get benefited from. Then we'll focus on cloud computing for education sector, because that's what something that you'll all be interested in. So we'll focus on that part. Last but not the least, we would also delve deeper and touch upon a bit on data privacy and jurisdiction issues with cloud. So let's get started. So when we look at cloud solutions, fundamental definition, if you have to look at from a 10,000 feet level, you're actually looking at providing services over the internet. That includes a complete package of the service that includes storage, processing power, and software applications. And when we say these are provided over the internet, some of the things that you would expect when a cloud solution, when we say, hey, it's a cloud solution, the key characteristics that should probably at least a minimum to satisfy these things would be the availability on demand. So you should be able to connect to it at any time, any day of the week, right? Then these services are available for a pay as you go, meaning you don't own it. Neither you paid before you use, nor you paid after you use it, right? It's a pay as you go model, and that's the pricing that you look for. These solutions offer scalability and flexibility. We'll cover that in deeper. And of course, you're not just restricted to a few or a handful of providers. There are a bunch of providers who actually provide some of these cloud solutions. Meaning you should have a form of choice that is available to you, right? So that predominantly is what the industry, the internet defines it as the definition of cloud computing. So some of the key characteristics when we actually delve deeper, allows the users to access these computing resources as needed, meaning on demand, and that is without requiring any human intervention. Fundamental difference of setting up an on-prem system versus something that you're actually enabling it on the cloud. This is readily available to you. You don't need any human to come and switch it on, provide the access, etc., etc. And the characteristics definitely help users to access resources. Is not just you're actually getting a computer and you have to do everything. The cloud computing often referred as something that actually gives you the full application experience that includes storage, processing, and then additional applications and connectivity on demand. So, and when you talk about pay-as-you-go pricing, this is where the users are charged on the on the usage and the actual usage. There is no upfront cost, nor there is any cost that is involving in terms of licensing and other things. The cloud solutions are expected to consume all those things and give a single and transparent and a simple price to the users. Right? That's what the nature of pay-as-you-go experience would look at. And you would often be charged for the what we call it as the compute power and the storage. Right? Those are the fundamental things that you get charged. Everything else is an infrastructure that the company is putting up to enable you with these things, but they are not charged separately, or they are not put into an itemized way. All of these things, end of the day, you pay for the compute, you pay for the storage. That's what it gets to. The next aspect is scalability and flexibility, where you would actually start looking into in terms of, hey, how do I provide these whatever I am actually getting the resources. If I need more resources, what do I do, right? So the additional configuration of these resources, which is referred as scalability, that should be out of the box and should be configured in the system, where you'll be able to go to the configuration and click a button. You will be able to increase the compute power, increase the storage that you actually need for your needs, right? So again, here there is no human or manual intervention, right? This basically gives you the power that you will be able to assign some of the resources at wish and will, and also reduce or even remove these resources at wish and will, right? So that's the scalability and flexibility. Last but not the least is basically about the you should have a choice. There are multiple companies, a ton of companies that actually offer these things, and you should be able to switch to the providers depending on the types of implementations that you've carried out, which will cover. You already have a variety of companies that are offering these things, and you should be able to switch to them pretty quickly and without a lot of work. There is some work. There will be some work, but not a lot of work. Right? So that's what we would actually be looking at as the variety that is available out there. So when we broadly look into the cloud computing, the industry defined or looked at this as into three aspects. The IaaS, which started with first, which is infrastructure as a service, the platform as a service, that is called PaaS. Then later, with the advent of the industry getting familiar and getting used to it, came SaaS, that is software as service. So when we look at infrastructure as service, this is where the first shift that has actually happened. You can say early 2000s, right, with the advent of internet and ubiquitous computing started to become a norm, is how we can say. That is the time where the industry has actually started to adopt providing computers in a virtualized manner, where you will be able to set up or what we call it as power on a system with a button, right? Which can host your application and run your application without you owning the entire infrastructure, and you being physically not even being able to identify or need to know where the computer is actually being done, right? So that's the infrastructure as service. So that's what it covers. They are virtualized computing, meaning virtual machines, they're called as. There are multiple layers on top of that, but that's at a basic definition level, you can say the computing is virtualized. You don't own the PC, you don't own the server. You actually go and spin up that. You actually go and start that on a provider that is providing it. Definite examples. Amazon has actually started this as the first company that has gotten into cloud computing, and also the company that has actually gone gotten into providing IaaS, infrastructure as service. So EC2 is the offering. Google has the compute engine, and Microsoft also offers Microsoft Azure, which provides IaaS, power storage, and of course networking for it to be connecting both within and outside other applications. Then came platform as service. The platform as service is an interesting, extension to IaaS. While IaaS is actually there, it helps people to definitely, build their own applications. It takes a lot when you're actually building up your applications from ground up. Now that's where platform as service has actually really taken it up and then really benefiting the industry with respect to the choices that it provides and at the same time the flexibility it offers. Right? So there are things that are taken care for you, and then there are things that are available for you to configure. So you can say it's the best of the breed with respect to the three types that we just talked about. So it offers hardware and software tools over the internet. And typically, you'll actually be developing some of these things using the tools that are provided. So the Google App Engine and within Microsoft, there are different offerings that are actually available. And then, the AWS Elastic Beanstalk, they are the examples that talk about how you can leverage a basic platform, not just a computer, but it has a platform. When we refer to platform, there are fundamental things that are required, are all made available to you. The examples that you can look at is basically you're walking into the kitchen and then you're actually putting a grocery order, versus you're walking into the kitchen and all the ingredients that are actually provided to you, and you can build what you want. Right? So that's fast. All the ingredients are actually available to you. You can make the curry that you want. Right? So this naturally facilitates the rapid development and deployment of applications without managing the underlying infrastructure and without worrying some of the fundamental aspects of computing as well. Right? So that's platform as service. And just to give you a visual representation, when you actually look at running your applications on-prem, meaning you own the hardware, you own the infrastructure, you own the networking, everything, and the computers are pretty much are in your server room, right? Typically, that's what we used to say. You just manage everything, including its power, everything, right? Versus running on a hoster, we actually call it that, right? So that's where it becomes a managed service versus the platform in itself being available as the standard offerings that are actually available, which is the PaaS. Now you can see the control versus the economy of scale. Right? So that's the advantage of getting to cloud computing. Obviously, when you manage your own infrastructure, you have complete control, including the connectivity, including the hardware. You have complete control on top of that. So the data that gets stored is also residing within your system, right? If not for any loopholes, your data is totally intact and is just residing with you. You don't have to worry about it. That's one thing that we'll cover in the last section, which is basically about data privacy and other jurisdiction areas. Whereas when you look at for PaaS, you will be able to achieve the economy of scale because the upfront cost is almost minimal or zero, and you would be able to quickly spin off some of these instances with a click of a button, as you mentioned, versus if you're owning your own infrastructure, imagine all the legwork that you have to do in identifying the right provider, identifying the right configuration, ordering that, getting that racked in, using it, and then making sure everything is working fine, calling the network engineer, etc., right? So all those things are taken care for you when you're actually using a PaaS, right? So that's how we say you will be able to achieve the economy of scale because you're not owning the hardware. So when you look at platform as service versus IaaS and then on-prem, this is sort of a representation to go a bit deeper. What we call it as open the bonnet and see what's inside, right? When you talk about the compute that is required for the applications, these are the layers that are actually foundational layers within this within the whole compute that comes together. So you have networking, storage, the servers, the virtualization, the operating system, and then you have some of the middlewares and your runtimes that actually run on top of that, which actually where you build your applications which manage and store data, and the applications that provide you the experiences. Right? So if that's the stack that we can look at, you'll be able to see how IaaS is actually providing some of the foundational things to you and giving you the flexibility what you can manage. So you should be able to manage your middle tier runtime data and applications, right? Because the infrastructure part up to the OS is taken care. But remember, at the same time, when you're taking care of an OS, that IaaS machine comes with an OS that you're actually requested for. Meaning your application, once you've decided you're going to use the OS, you're locked to that OS, and the application has to be compatible to run on that particular operating system, right? You can definitely choose a different machine with a different operating system, but then you'll have to port your application from operating system 1 to the operating system 2. So you'll have to be able to manage that. So that's a key aspect that differentiates the choice to make whether you want to go with an IaaS or PaaS. Companies that typically have been in the industry, built their applications, late 80s, early 90s, and started getting to that. And with the advent of cloud that is actually coming in early 2000, if they really want to take advantage of that, that's when a lot of companies moved their existing applications, which are already targeted or working on an operating system of their choice. They started to migrate those applications to IaaS. So that's their first step, and that's how they migrated to cloud, because they want to have a lower control or a lesser control, but they want to achieve the economy of scale, right, to most of the extent. So that's how they took advantage of that. Now, while that is happening, PaaS started to become more prominent is because what we call it as the cloud computing, and then cloud computing, or the millennial era of application development. And that's when you started to see, multiple flavors of things start to come. And mobile made it really, really interesting, because when you're actually looking at mobile, you wanted to have your experience that is available on the mobile, but the backend connectivity, all the computing that is actually happening on the server side. So people wanted to have these applications to be developed pretty quickly. A lot of development that actually happened later 2000s and early 2010s, right? So that's the time PaaS started to become more prominent, because what PaaS offers is a platform that is also abstracted from the operating system. So you don't have to code or develop your applications targeting a particular operating system, meaning you're not locked to particular operating system. You target your applications to the PaaS offerings that are actually there. Leave the operating system part and the middleware and the runtime execution also to the PaaS provider. So that's how you can take, for example, you can take an application that is developed to run on Windows OS. You will have to have Windows OS if it is IaaS. But if you develop your application using some of the PaaS offerings, it can be run on Linux operating system as well, right? So the underlying hardware and the middle tier, it doesn't matter, because these are abstracted from. So that is a huge advantage that the developers have actually got, because then they don't have to worry about challenges that actually come when you're actually doing with Windows. Oh, it's not possible with Windows. Oh, I wish I could do this in a different way, or I have to worry about it. All those things are actually abstracted from the developer. So that is a major advantage that you actually see with PaaS. But it didn't stop there. SaaS made it really, really, completely, and turned the tables completely to a different angle altogether. Because with SaaS, you pretty much are looking into, you just need a browser to run your business. You just need a browser or even a mobile device to achieve what you're looking for. Because everything, pretty much everything, is completely packaged and managed by the SaaS providers. But that's why it's called software as a service, right? Where you're actually using the software on a pure subscription basis. The true definition of cloud computing, where You just come in and use it, right? So this is like, in a way you can say, this is like the paying guest accommodation, right? You're not even cooking. You just get your meal served. You walk into the house, you get your meal served. Number of days you walk in, you pay for that. You walk out, you settle your bill, you're done with that, right? So you're not even ordering groceries as IaaS. You're not even cooking your meal as PaaS. You are just eating your meal as a subscriber, as a user, as a consumer, right? So it's SaaS is purely that sort of consumer orientation notion, right? So that's what it actually helps in terms of getting to how we want to take care of this. Now that's where a lot of companies have actually taken advantage of this, where they saw a huge demand and need for a lot of companies to start getting to. By the way, this is also happening. What we can relate to is the industry revolution, right? How the industry is maturing. Late 70s, 80s, from basic computing needs to the, applications, and people are able to use it with the advent of internet. People are able to start connecting with the systems. And then with, cloud computing that is actually coming in, a lot of companies have started to offer some of these things, take advantage of that, with PaaS being able to, get to that, and mobile coming in. And with SaaS, what it really made the difference is companies are able to get to that, what we call as the digital wave, right? So companies are able to take advantage of the offerings that are actually there to digitize their business. So when we say digitize their business, moving from paper to paperless in a very simplistic definition. So when they move from paper to paperless, each of the offerings, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, have their own things that they've actually given. But what industry started to see, that moving to SaaS or starting from SaaS has a lot of advantage for these companies, because they can configure their businesses the way how the SaaS is actually working, and they can choose the right SaaS application to be able to configure their business. So that's where it provides that access to applications without any from any device, with internet and connectivity, and there are no physical installations at all. As I said, you walk in with a browser, or there is a simplistic client that is available on mobile. Pretty much everything is available for you, right? So with that, let's get to a first trivia question, just to wake up those for taking a nap after a good meal in the afternoon. So who's the market leader in the cloud computing? Remember, it's cloud computing. The question is, who's the market leader in the cloud computing overall? You can type in your answers in the chat. Let me see if there are any answers that are coming in. Amazon, okay. Google, keep going. So the question is, who's the, which company is the leader in cloud computing? And when you say leader, maybe you can ask the follow-up question, right? What does it mean, leader, right? So market capitalization, because that's what everyone looks for, right? Yeah, good answers. Keep them coming in. This is what the industry, from the internet, what you actually see. It's very interesting to see how these companies stack up with respect to being the leader in the cloud computing. So definitely, yeah, good answers. Amazon is definitely the leader from an overall cloud computing market capitalization standpoint, followed by Azure from Microsoft, followed by Google. So I think all the three are already listed. So good job. But one of the points that you wanted to see is that you also see other cloud providers that are there in the industry. Remember, when we talk about cloud computing, you have a variety of providers that are actually available. Now, the stats definitely include IaaS and PaaS. Okay, it's not SaaS, which is very interesting to know and see. So we'll come to that. I think there's a ask in the chat. Moderators, please take a look at that. Cool. So when we talk about SaaS, why is it important, right? What do we get, right? At the end of the day, when we actually look at some of these things, we look at how does it help everyone, right? So, and when it needs to help everyone, it needs to help to the organization, to the unit that is actually into that, right? So, for example, how does it help the hospital industry? How does it help the education industry? How does it help the consumer industry, right? Or the electronics, manufacturing, right? So all these industries have to get benefited for. Now, in order to have the benefit for the consumers, the companies themselves should see the value, right? So now that's where we actually see why do companies have to, move on to SaaS, or what do they see as benefits in that? Which basically provides two aspects, right? They're measured on two aspects, right? Business agility and scalability. Right? If I use the cloud provider, if I use a SaaS application, would I be able to transform my business and bring in agility in my business? And would I be able to scale my business? Right. So that's when you start to understand what are those key characteristics that I need to evaluate in choosing the right SaaS provider for my business. Now, when we say what is the right SaaS for that, so you're looking at the SaaS application obviously is hosted on remote servers, meaning you don't need to understand where it is, but it should be accessible via web browsers. So we call it as ubiquitous computing, right? So ubiquitous access should be there. And they should give you the subscription-based pricing, meaning I don't need to buy the entire stack. I should be able to use the features within the SaaS, the capabilities within the SaaS, the one that are needed for my business or my institution to run, but I don't need to pay for the entire thing, right? So that's the subscription-based pricing. The second aspect of subscription-based pricing is basically the per seat license, per user license. So I should be able to pay or use it only for the people that I need. There doesn't come with box of 100, 200, and 400 that I have to buy for, even though I have, let's say, 50 people, right? And I don't want to worry when I'm talking about SaaS. Why am I going to SaaS? Is I don't want to really do any development and also worry about maintaining and upgrading these systems, patching it, making sure it is not vulnerable to cyber attacks and all that stuff. I just want that to be taken care of, right? I don't want to have that headache with that. So that's the updates and maintenance from the provider. So when we look at business agility, you would look at how can I quickly implement what I want or configure what I want to achieve the outcome that I'm looking for, right? If I'm into a consumer industry, right, and I need to manage my customers, how quickly can I set up my customer relationship management application, the CRM application for my business, right? It's very important. So the first part is obviously how quickly can I configure and use it, right? What is the minimal things that I need to do, just so that what I'm getting is very personalized and very specific to my company that I'm working for and I'm configuring it for. Second thing is the flexibility and scalability, which is basically you should be able to have the flexibility to extend some of the experiences, change some of, or modify or alter some of the workflows to cater to your respective needs. For example, you're configuring this for HR solution, you're managing or building a leave management system for your respective organization. Should your organization require 2 levels of approval for the leave, you should be able to configure that, right? So you should have that flexibility. And then scalability with respect to that, you want to adopt this, you should be able to start with, let's say, 10 users to pilot with this, and then be able to roll it out to your entire organization. Right? Imagine, rolling it out to a huge organization like Indian Railways, right? It takes a lot. Now, the system should be able to support both scale as well as provide the features that are unique to their respective roles in those organizations. So it should provide, both of them. Should be accessible. Definitely, it should have, be anyone with a web browser be able to access, right? And with an internet should be able to connect to it. They shouldn't require any preloaded software or a ton of requirements or products to be installed on their machines to use it, right? It should just be pretty simple. And then, of course, takes care of any updates that are coming in. Now, why do we look for these things is because you need those elasticity because your organization sizes may grow and shrink. So you should be able to size your things, size the capabilities that you need. You should be able to size them. The cost efficiency is one thing that you would look for because, as I said, number of employees in your organization is what you should be able to configure it for pay as you go versus boxing it or arranging it into some numbers that may not give you a financial advantage, right? Global reach with the connectivity and then integration capabilities. The cloud should provide enough integrations abilities for you to be able to integrate with other experiences, other workflows, other third-party integrations that your company has. For example, if it is about EDI, electronic data interchange, where you might want to process invoices. Now, if you're implementing this SaaS product, you should be able to connect to your partner's invoicing system, right? You need that connectivity. Only then it makes sense because there's no point in you implementing it and then taking a physical order or taking it out and then manually sending it to the partner, even though the partner has an EDI, that is implemented or a system that is implemented, but your SaaS is not able to connect to their applications, to their SaaS provider also, right? Or it can provide, connect to only that particular offering, SaaS offering that is there, very specific company. That would be very limiting. So you don't want to get into those things. You want really those integration capabilities to be available to you. That should be, the technically it's referred as the application programming interfaces, the APIs and connectors. It should come with those things, right? Those are the characteristics that we actually look at a good SaaS product should have, right? So that's what we'd actually be looking at in terms of what qualifies to be a SaaS and how do you identify what is the right SaaS solution for your company. Now, next trivia question, which is very interesting. Who's the market leader in SaaS today? Which company is the market leader? Which SaaS provider is the market leader when it comes to SaaS-based products or companies that actually offer SaaS as their prime offering? Any guesses? Let me see the chat window. So we have a lot of SaaS providers out there. Any guesses who's leading the industry from a market capitalization standpoint? Microsoft? And any other? Any other guesses? Is Microsoft because I'm working for Microsoft? Okay, good. Good to see there are other examples that are coming in. Google, Microsoft and Salesforce. Okay, there's a correction. Okay, Salesforce, interesting. Yeah, that's a good point about Salesforce. Salesforce definitely, interesting, Shopify. Salesforce definitely pioneered. In fact, Salesforce is seen as the poster boy of SaaS, the company that is what they call it as SaaS born company, or born in the internet, born in the cloud era, right? Yeah, good on Adobe as well. Let's see what does the data say, right, from the internet again. This is based on market capitalization. That's what we are talking about. It was interesting to see Apple leads the race, and you might be surprised, right? to the way that, to the extent where we actually have, kind of assumed what is SaaS and what is not SaaS. Probably we are looking at from a business perspective, right? Business applications perspective. That could be the reason why we felt Apple is not even in the list. Right? But Apple is in the list is because Apple offers iCloud, which is basically the one of the SaaS providers that basically offers all the aspects that we just talked about: ubiquitous computing, being able to access the resources at which on time, on demand, provides the flexibility and is a subscription model and zero maintenance. So the Apple's cloud service is one of the higher rated used SaaS aspect from all the Apple and Apple product users basically. And on top of that, Apple has Apple Music and Apple TV and App Store also is a SaaS, right? So you're able to publish your applications to store, and then you don't even worry about how it gets percolated down and then made available to all the users to install the respective application. So it's very interesting. Yeah, I think right on guess with respect to Microsoft. Microsoft has a lot of SaaS products. LinkedIn is one example of SaaS, right? So because it's something that companies can actually configure and use it, it's not just for the end users, right? It's companies also subscribe and use LinkedIn for various recruitment and managing purposes, right? So there are tons of other products, Dynamics 365, and now Office 365. They're all come under as SaaS products that are actually there. And yeah, Google is not far away. Google has enough things. It's interesting to see where Salesforce stands, because Salesforce predominantly just offers SaaS purely in the CRM related world, right? So everything revolves around customer, the relationship management aspects. So they stand out if you look at as CRM, but if you look at overall SaaS from a market share standpoint, market capitalization standpoint, that's where Salesforce stands. But they're all competitors here. They have their own strengths and their own market to say in their respective industries. And Adobe is one key example. I think some of you quoted, so good to see that. Adobe has a lot of things that it actually offers as SaaS. Adobe, right? So that's on how the industry has actually evolved on that. So now, if we have to just play out the same slide, how does SaaS look like? You see, none of the boxes are colored or identified, because everything else is just coming as to you as a software as service. You don't even manage the application, right? You just configure the application and that's it. Configure and start using it. Right? So that's what you would be looking at. Now, when you move to SaaS, one of the key aspects why you're actually getting to SaaS and how do you want to use it is both cost optimization and operational efficiency. So some of the key things that you'd like to measure when you actually move as a company, as an institution to SaaS is, has your capital expenditure, has it reduced? Meaning, right? You don't have to invest an upfront cost, a lot of upfront cost. Are you able to use it pay as you go? And with the varying needs, varying users or individuals in your organization or institution, are you able to do that? And then you also see, hello, yes. Is there a question? Maybe you can type it in the chat and definitely we can.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, please type in the chat box. At the end, we will take the questions one on one. Thank you.
Third thing is resource efficiency. Are you seeing in terms of how your human resources are becoming efficient by using SaaS? That is one key aspect of it, right? What is the advantage that you're actually getting? And also, if you're actually using some of the resources, are you able to take advantage of the features that are actually available from a feature standpoint, from a SaaS capabilities standpoint? Last but not the least is basically about cost management tools. is the SaaS provider is helping you in terms of what are the different places on how much you're actually using, how your billing is coming to the amount that you're looking for, and what features that you're using and what features that you're not using. So those are some key aspects that come. And the way that you want to look at how you can take advantage of these SaaS-based solutions is basically about automation. Are there opportunities that you're actually seeing that using the SaaS providers built-in capabilities or some extended capabilities, would you be able to automate certain tasks? Would you be able to automate certain workflows? Would you be able to automate certain even experiences to an extent where you don't have to necessarily need a human to do that, right? So that should be one key aspect that you get to. Second, being able to get to it, it should increase the collaboration in your organization and institution when you're actually going with this. By providing some of those out-of-the-box capabilities, the SaaS product should enable you with higher collaboration because teamwork is all what matters, and you should be able to achieve the results with good teamwork. Performance optimization, so you should be able to see in terms of how both the applications as well as individuals' performance can be measured and optimized, and how much they actually can do and how much the value that they can bring in. And of course, last but not the least, it's about security and compliance, right? So is the application helping you all these things, but at the same time ensuring your workflows, your business is following the standard compliance rules that are actually set by the respective organizations, the government organizations that are actually there. And is your data secure? Is your employee data secure? And is it being protected from any unintended actors trying to access that data? Right? So that's the last but not the least option that we should be looking at, definitely in evaluating what is the right SaaS. Now, we've talked about what does it mean cloud computing, and also delve deeper into what is SaaS, software as service, what are the key characteristics, what does it constitute. Let's look at it in terms of when you try to use SaaS, or even think of what you want to do in the respective sector that we are in, which is the education sector. It's very interesting to see what are the different aspects that are actually available. I'm sure most of you are using it already or are a beneficiary of some of these offerings that are already there, right? The first thing is definitely the cloud computing for available for all of you, for faculty, right? So what does it mean? You should be able to get rapid access to computing resources for research, right? So some tools and softwares that you're actually using may need licensing. Now, if you're actually going to a SaaS, you should be able to use it pay as you go, right? So that's definite advantage that you should be able to see that, and there's no need for those that expensive hardware that you need to buy into install and manage those applications. And then some of the tools are also available as access to as free to start with, for you to help understand the benefits that these softwares offer. They're available out in the internet, and some start with some credits. For example, AWS for Educate, Azure for Education, and Google Cloud for Education. They offer a variety of tools and software as service experiences, platforms that the faculty can get benefited from, right? And these tools and offerings also help the faculty to increase their collaboration. It enables their collaboration, and this collaboration is boundaryless, we can say, right? So you definitely be able to collaborate with people on a different country, on a different geo. So that is the advantage of the SaaS products that are actually there, specifically targeted for the faculty over there. Next point that we can look at is how can you leverage this for teaching and learning, right? So when you're talking about teaching and learning, you've understood in terms of how to leverage some of these things. Now you want to impart that knowledge to your students. So you would like to understand like how to run these virtual labs. There are some uh, infrastructure or SaaS companies that actually provide you these virtual labs where the students can take advantage of that. And as faculty, you should be able to learn and also teach your students how to leverage them. There are collaborative tools from Google like Google Workspace, Microsoft Teams. There are learning management systems, the LMS like Moodle, VMedu Live. These are some of the things that are actually there, which provide enough capabilities that help you to impart that knowledge and increase the effectiveness of the learning from the student standpoint. Of course, you're all familiar with virtual classrooms. I don't know whether to say thanks to COVID or because of COVID. Teams, Zoom, what we are using now, Google Meet, they're all enabled that virtual classroom experience. During the pandemic time where it was most needed. And of course, last but not the least, when you're talking about teaching and learning, comes with some of the aspects of being able to measure the progress from the students. So you should be able to host assignments, provide exams, have students take the exams, and also provide their responses. Sometimes for the people who are in the tech side of it, they should be able to run code, deploy their applications, being able to use it, right? So all these things are provided as part of the SaaS applications offerings that are actually there. Some of these SaaS products also give you the advantage or introduce you to the new ways of teaching that will help in terms of how can you improve your curriculum, right? From a student learning standpoint, right? So they'll be able to help you with respect to okay, students should be able to benefit if you include this in your subject, and this is something what the industry is already doing. So they'll give you those recommendations as part of that, and you should be able to take them, learn about it as a faculty, but also include in your curriculum to impart that knowledge to your students. So they ran across or cover across multiple aspects like AWS and GCP offer some of these things out of the box where they'll actually help you what sort of curriculum that you want to include for your students, like for those in the computer science related streams, DevOps and CI/CD on the cloud security and compliance. It also help with some of the mini projects that the students can actually do, right? Now, this one from an edtech standpoint, I think we've all seen a lot of advantage of this, specifically during pandemic and during and some institutions have actually taken this advantage even before. For example, when my kids were actually going to the school, I was surprised to see the way the school has actually adopted to one of these practices where they start assessing the students' abilities through some of the online tests that they provide, and then they give you a report in terms of what areas the student is good at. So what are the areas that the student need help, and what are the areas that the student may excel, right? Given what their answering pattern is. Right? This is nothing like a right or wrong thing, but rather trying to assess the student based on the skills, the knowledge that they have, and the appetite that they have to solve certain types of problems, and the inclination that they have towards certain areas, right? So that's where EdTech definitely has taken advantage of, the SaaS sort of offerings. Popular known companies, Coursera and Byju's, Khan Academy, they're all provide some of these things as SaaS-based offerings. And of course, there are smart campuses that are actually available, which can help the institutions. Like VMedu also helps you in terms of managing this student data, taking everything from an end-to-end perspective. You can digitize pretty much everything that you do on a day-to-day basis. You can digitize that. And the advantage of digitizing that is, yeah, if there are days that you are not able to come to your college or university or your campus, you can pretty much do that from your home, right? So that's the advantage these offerings provide. So plus, of course, the online assessments on various aspects, not just like what is there in the syllabus. There are tons of things that you actually can make the students curious to learn and invigorate that curiosity in them. Those are the offerings that definitely that you can take advantage by leveraging the SaaS products that are out there. From if you have to look at from an institution perspective, right? So what does it mean from the institute perspective is the total cost of ownership, right? So when we do all these things, if you are going with the SaaS and SaaS-based products and identifying the right SaaS product for you, definitely you don't have to manage the hardware, so you get the scale of IT infrastructure without even employing an IT personnel over there, right? So that's one major advantage that you get. You will be able to manage your student information. Imagine managing them into hard files versus something that is available digitally to you over cloud, and then being able to provide this information. God forbid if there are natural disasters, the information of the student data and the institution's data is protected because it's digitized. And also you should pick the right provider who actually provides you the disaster recovery options that are there. And of course, integrating with cloud for any personal learning and taking advantage of that, where you will be able to extend that. And because it is SaaS, the SaaS company can actually introduce newer features as the world matures, as there are newer options that become available. The SaaS company can actually add additional features to their offerings, and you should be able to take advantage of them as well, right? So you're not left behind, or you're not locked with what you bought. You will be able to take advantage of any new features that are actually coming out there. So that's the advantage from an institution standpoint. Last but not the least is the research opportunities, right? It takes a lot when you actually are looking into a research, because you need to do a lot of homework, you need to do a lot of groundwork, and you're in an era where if you have to run from pillar to post, you can either do research or you can do your teaching, which is your day job. Doing both, is quite a challenge. But thanks to some of these offerings that are actually available, there are options now. You will be able to do your research online. Of course, identify how you actually can do research, and also start utilizing these products to be able to look at how your research is going, measure your progress, etc. And also looking at how you can connect with people on the other side, right? So it's collaboration that you actually can do, and have the reviews that can happen. The biggest advantage that I see here is the data sets that are actually made available. So as part of your research, if you have to run your model, you have a large set of data sets that are actually available, hosted on cloud, both for free as well as for a minimum charge amount that you actually can get the access to the data set, where you can run your model and validate your hypothesis in a way, right? So that's very important, where otherwise collecting the data is manual in nature, versus this data set is now available. While you may say it's curated, you would still be able to see the variety that it offers and validate your theory over there. You may end up doing the actual research with the actual people and collecting the data from them. But before you get to that step, you will be able to use this data, the open data sets that are actually available. A lot of data sets that are available publicly. For example, students are actually building ML models. They take advantage of these data sets. They just build the model and then run the model against this data set to see the effectiveness of their model, right? So they're not really stepping out into the real world to see even get the real data. They're able to test it, the efficiency and effectiveness of their model, before they even release it to the actual users, right? So that's the advantage that we actually get. With that, we'll quickly get to the last section, which is on data privacy and the jurisdictions that are actually there in cloud. It's very important when you're actually moving to cloud and taking advantage of cloud. there are things that you need to pay attention and you need to be cautious about. Now, privacy is the major thing. It's probably the word of the century is what we can say. With all the computing that is coming in, it becomes paramount to make sure that the data that is out there respects, maintains, and ensures the privacy of the individuals. Right. So it's very important to get to that. So when you talk about data privacy in the digital world, it just gives you a nightmare sometimes in terms of is my data properly stored and managed, right? Because at the end of the day, when we are storing our information, we should have the control on top of the data that is there, and we should be able to both put up our record, meaning create it, manage it, as well as delete it when we want, right? So we should have that control, and we should feel safe while doing so, right? So it's very important that the providers and the applications provide you the right data privacy management techniques and tools. So when we look at the whole aspect of data privacy, chiefly we can look into three things, right? Basically, control and consent, right? That we just talked about. Protection from misuse. People shouldn't be able to take advantage of your data and do something with that. Of course, following the compliance and regulations. So basically adhering to all the legal standards, whatever the standards that are actually out there. So the industry definitely recognizes the threat associated with the digitization and being able to access data from anywhere by anyone. So industry definitely has identified and has come up with two major laws. The GDPR is the definite known one. That is the General Data Protection Regulation, which ensures the companies that are actually collecting the individual's data follow certain standards and guidelines in terms of storing and protecting the data, and also providing the ability to the users to be able to manage their data at their wish and will, right? So if you start to see earlier, if you're browsing like 10 years back, probably you wouldn't see when you open a website, it wouldn't ask hey, this site uses cookies. Do you want to use it or not, right? So some of you would have experienced that. That message started flashing when GDPR has become a norm across the world, that all the companies have to follow it. And if they do not follow it, those companies would be liable, and those websites, those companies will be taken down, right? So that's one example that you straight see in terms of how you're protecting. And then companies that actually announce when you're actually talking about and providing your information, they'll have to put a disclaimer to say all the data that you're entering will be securely stored, and you'll be able to remove this information at your wish and will. You either drop an email to this, or here is how you can go ahead and remove it, including WhatsApp, right? So when you store it in WhatsApp, it should give an option where say, remove all my personal information. I'm exiting out of WhatsApp. The moment you do that, WhatsApp has to delete all your personal information, and if they fail to do so, they are liable for the penalties and the actions that are going to be taken over by the consortium. Similarly, the California Consumer Privacy Act, the CCPA, this is a judgment that has actually been passed in 2018, which basically enhanced the privacy and the rights for consumer protection of the residents of California, which later extended for the rest of the world as well. One of the things it grants is basically consumers to several important rights regarding their personal information collected by business, which is the ability to be able to manage and view what these companies are actually storing about this person. If you go and put a query, they should be able to provide all the information that they're storing, everything that they're storing about you, right? So that's how the industry has taken or put the guardrails around in terms of protecting privacy and of course taking care of the data that is out there. Now, the second aspect that comes into cloud computing is the jurisdiction issues. Remember, at the beginning we talked about when you are using your own on-prem servers, you are in complete control of your data. So that's a major challenge, you can say, when you're actually moving to cloud computing, because when you are hosting your servers within your own campus or institution or within your own region, you're in full control of the data. The data is not even getting replicated. The only way that data can be accessed is through your application, right? Or by taking the hard drive out of that. That's the only way. It's not stored anywhere else. But when you talk about cloud computing, the storage we say ubiquitous, meaning the storage is accessible to you from anywhere in the world, meaning the data can be stored anywhere in the world, right? So because the data is stored and replicated at multiple places, it is providing the SaaS or the PaaS or even IaaS is providing the ability to be able to connect and access the data. But there comes the challenge. Your data that is actually your institution data is now replicated and is available outside the country, outside the state, outside the geo as well, right? So it's very important that these companies both follow the jurisdiction issues and follow the compliance that is there with the jurisdiction laws that are actually put in out there. Meaning the SaaS companies should provide you the opportunity, and we say it's mandated that they should say that your data resides within your country only, right? So you can choose the SaaS where you say like, hey, I don't want my data to be replicated outside of India. It should be available within India only, right? So you should be able to say that, and there are all these SaaS products, major SaaS products do offer that. And that's why you see a lot of major companies are setting up their data centers in their respective countries. For example, major companies are setting up their data centers in India in order to be able to follow the law and to be able to still provide the functionality that they can provide. At the same time, they would, by doing so, they would be able to provide you the disaster recovery, meaning the business continuity, irrespective of any disasters that occur in the very specific geo, right? So they'll set up multiple data centers across the country, but the data that is actually there will be replicated within the country, but not out. It will not go outside the country, right? So that's where the companies are actually investing a lot in order to protect your ask and the need to keep the data within the country. Right? So that's where the key points that we should look at when we are actually using cloud computing, and then now to keep an eye on is data localization. So one thing that we just touched upon, the cross-border data transfers, what data getting transferred, right? In the the global village era, you cannot just say like, hey, all my data has to be there and I'll just run my company or business just within the same country. It's quite not possible, right? You are living in a globalized world, but it does not mean that all your data needs to be replicated. So it's very important to see like what data is actually getting transferred, how these offerings are actually following the legal compliances, the ones that we just talked about. The data sovereignty. So some of the data shouldn't be made available, shouldn't be replicated. It shouldn't be even getting into the hands of any other people. That could be your Aadhaar data, voter ID data, etc., etc. And last but not the least is access and control. The individual should be able to have the right access, and they should be able to control what they are providing and what is collected from them. So some of the laws that are actually there is the United States Patriot Act, which basically says the data that is stored by the US cloud providers should be within US, should not get replicated. So that's so they call it as the federal data. So they have even further granular rules which say like people who actually operate with that data should also be operating from the land, meaning all the US government data to be created and managed by people who are staying within US. They have to be citizens and they must be staying within US. So that's the law that the United States are actually putting. And then of course we talked about GDPR earlier, right? So that's how the industry is also adopting and learning and maturing in terms of how to handle some of these challenges that may come. And it's requires a lot of understanding. It's not a straightforward thing. There are quite a few challenges in terms of doing it. When companies are setting it up, it's not easy for them. They have to have a thorough understanding and also do their risk analysis in terms of how do they choose the right provider in order to get to it, and definitely making sure that there are data protection agreements that are put in there. Make sure their larger companies are the ones that actually are global companies. Have these agreements to be reviewed by their legal counsels and understand both what they're collecting from their consumers, because they are liable for that data, even though the SaaS provider is actually storing it, right? This is the company that is collecting it. So you're directly responsible for that. At the same time, what laws that are governed by the SaaS companies should also be well understood. So you should have a proper legal counsel around that. At the end of the day, is the SaaS provider, or if you're building your own applications or extensions, are they following the fundamental principle of privacy by design? Meaning, what we simply call it as on a need basis. You should know or see the information on a need basis. You don't have to show everything that is actually there out there in your system to everybody who's actually walking in, including the same person, right? Unless they actually need it, right? So if you follow those sort of fundamental principles, which is called as privacy by design, you should be able to achieve most of your stuff and be in a control in terms of achieving the right experience to the users, but at the same time following all the laws to protect individuals' privacy and ensure that their data is managed well. And at the end of the day, you want them to be empowered, you want them to be successful, but you don't want them to be concerned when you're using your tools, right? So that's where all these things are important and pretty much play a pivotal role in that. Yeah. With that, we come to the end. I think probably have about 10 minutes. Yeah, we can definitely take Q&A. Let me stop presenting and stop sharing.
Thank you, sir. That was a valuable session, guiding us through the beginning and then taking us there. We see a couple of questions in the chat box. First question is basically looking at the questions.
Yeah, let me get to the chat. What are the key techniques available to transfer data globally through cloud without the catch of endeavors? Yeah, Teja, sir, if you could come online and probably explain this a bit, elaborate on the question.
Yeah, sir. If you transfer the data with the cloud, so globally, so when you transfer the data, the endeavors, nothing but the hackers who are in between them while transferring the data from one point to the other point using the cloud. What is the key technique? Means what is the safety guard which is available without catch of data by these hackers?
Got it. Yeah, thanks. A very good question, Teja ma'am. Yeah, it's called the man in the middle attack, right? So basically, when you're transferring data, the person in the middle should not have any understanding of the data, because you can't stop transferring the data, or you can route the data through different means. It's quite not possible. The way the industry has adopted is using, public key, private key encryption. So the data gets encrypted, and the data obviously is passed over a normal network. It has a security, but it's secure by channel. Not everyone will be able to access to it. But even if the hacker gets access to the channel, the data is completely encrypted. It's sort of garbage to them. So unless they have the right key, they'll not be able to use the data. So that's the public key and private key. So the data, the source is encrypting the data with a public key, and people who have the private key would only be able to decrypt the data and use it. So that's how the data gets transferred across the wire to avoid this man in the middle attacks.
Yeah, through the cryptography technique, this all been happened.
Yes.
Yes, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Good. What is cloud virtualizations, or how is it related to cloud computing? Yeah, cloud and virtualization are sort of synonymous. It's not cloud virtualization. So virtualization is basically anything that you look at, anything that is physical, you actually made it appear like software, and you actually made it virtual, meaning you actually layered it that you'll be able to lift and shift to any other things. So virtualization usually used as the means that the physical resources or the single instances can be replicated into multiple instances. The clear examples would be that if you're using a computer, you have your hard disk, you have your memory, you have your operating system, but you have only one instance of them, right? Now, if you install a virtualization technique on top of that, it's called, Microsoft has a tool called hypervisor. What it helps you is it creates a virtual instance of your entire machine as an application, right? It becomes your PC, then becomes two PCs, one physical PC that you're actually using, computer, and then there is a virtual PC on which you can run a different software, different things, and both these things can communicate, but they don't conflict with each other, right? So that's the virtualization. Now, when you talk about in cloud virtualization in fact has actually become the first thing in the cloud, as I covered in the infrastructure as service. That's exactly what AWS, the Amazon Web Services, has started with. They basically created hypervised operating system instances, meaning computers, across, and they started to provide that computer when you ask for, when you buy their IaaS. So when you buy their IaaS, they are not physically setting up that machine and giving it to you. They are spinning up one instance of that virtualized instance, and that's what they're actually provisioning that for you. Only you can access, only you have the right to access it. And as long as you're accessing, that instance is running. The moment you actually said, hey, I'm done with this, that instance gets deleted, right? Along with all your data, everything is completely gets deleted and wiped out. So that's how the IaaS, infrastructure as service, has actually virtualized that stuff. I hope that answers the question. Good question. I think it's very important to understand the differences. That's from Bhargavi. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, please feel free to come off mute. You can also ask. You can have an interactive session. We have 5 more minutes.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, or please ask to unmute, and you can just ask your question also.
All right. If there isn't anything else, back to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, please give us 5 more minutes time. We will just wrap it up with a vote of thanks for this particular session. So at the outset, thank you so much for taking us elaborately on cloud from basics to the extent where you talk about virtualization also. May I now request Mary Francina ma'am to propose vote of thanks for this session, please.
Thank you, Rama ma'am. On behalf of the Rishi UBR Women's College and the Department of Business Management, and also from the participants, I express my deep gratitude towards our distinguished eminent speaker, Mr. Vijay Sarathi Chunduri Garu, for sharing such valuable insights, for sharing valuable insights and expertise during today's faculty development program session. Sir has covered many points which are very, very helpful for us, as in fundamentals of cloud computing with IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. And also, Sir has covered with business agility and scalability through SaaS. And also, Sir has covered with SaaS and SaaS-based products. And also, research opportunities. And also, Sir has covered with the cost optimization and operational efficiencies with cloud solutions. Sir has covered with the cloud computing for educational sectors. It is very much interesting, sir, as we are all looking forward for this opportunity, whereas in cloud computing, how it will be helpful for our educational sectors. So you have covered all the points, whatever the questions and queries we have since long years, as in cloud computing for the faculties and for the teaching and also for the learning and also for the curriculum development ideas and also for the institutional benefits. And also, sir, you have covered about the briefing about, you have given a briefing about the leverages cloud computing in educational sectors in a clear manner. And also, you have covered about the data privacy and jurisdiction issues with a lot of examples so we can understand very clearly. I thank you, sir, once again. And I also thank AICT and ATAL for providing a best platform for a learning. And also, I thank our beloved Secretary, Ma'am Rajshri Garu, and Academic Director, Madhvi Ma'am, and Principal Sir, Kameshwara Sir, and In-charge Principal, NSL Pravina Ma'am, and Dr. Rama Ma'am, Head of the Department of Business Management. And also thank all our organizing committees. And also I thank technical staff. And also I thank all the participants for your interactive and involvement. And also, I thank everyone, whoever is present in this session. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Francina ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. That was a very valuable session, informative session. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you all. Wish you good luck and happy learning. Thank you for the service that you're doing for the industry. Appreciate it. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Joining in a couple of minutes. Dear participants, we will be having our next speaker joining us in 2 minutes, Professor Chetan Srivastava from University of Hyderabad. We'll wait for 2 minutes. We'll take this 2 minutes break and then we will be having the next session. 2 minutes break, please, and then please stay tuned and please be there in the session. We will just start in 2 minutes. Our next speaker of the day, Chetan Srivastava, sir, is going to join us very soon. Good afternoon, Chetan Srivastava, sir. We welcome the presence of our next speaker of today, Professor Chetan Srivastava, sir, from University of Hyderabad. Thank you for joining us, sir. In 2 minutes, we will be starting the next session. So you're made co-host, sir, for you to facilitate to present your screen of PPT.
Hello, ma'am.
Sir, good
Just give me
afternoon, sir.
good afternoon.
Welcome.
Just give me a second, ma'am.
Sure,
Yeah,
sir.
just a second. I'll start at 1 second.
No worries.
Sorry
No
for the
worries.
delay. I was running in another meeting, so it got delayed. Just a
Thank you.
second.
Thank you so much in midst of your meetings. And we know how busy you are, but you're always ready to, share your knowledge with the faculty members or the students with the equal enthusiasm and energy. That's really, really very nice of you, sir, because
Thanks a
every
lot, ma'am.
interaction we had, every session which I had been of yours was very, very enthusiastic.
That is so nice of you, madam. Thanks a lot for the good words to go in, and I hope I'll start. I'm trying to share my PPT. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please permit us to introduce you.
Sure, ma'am.
Then
In
we
meantime,
will
we can do
start.
that, ma'am. Sure, sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah. Sorry for the delay in 5 minutes, and I know I apologize for that, ma'am. Over to you.
Not at all. Not at all, sir. You're right on time. We just completed 5 minutes back the previous session. May I request Ms. Salma Patan, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Management, Rishi UBR Men's College, to introduce our next eminent speaker of the day, Professor Chetan Srivastava, sir.
Good afternoon, one and all. Am I visible and audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, perfectly fine.
Yes. So I am Salma Patan, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Management. So it gives me immense pleasure and honor to introduce to you Professor Chetan Srivastava, sir, a distinguished academician and an inspiring leader in the field of management education. Chetan Srivastava, sir, is a professor at School of Management Studies, University of Hyderabad, and currently serves as the chairman of Placement Guidance and Advisory Bureau. He is also the coordinator of MBA and coordinator of Center for Virtual and Distance Learning at University of Hyderabad. With nearly 25 years of professional experience, Sir has made significant contributions not only as a teacher and mentor, but also as an administrator. Sir has served various leadership roles, including Director, Office of International Affairs, and Proctor at University of Hyderabad. His excellence has been recognized with numerous prestigious awards such as the MTC Global Outstanding Management Teacher Award, the AIMS ICFAI Best Teacher Award, and the title of Best Professor in Marketing. He has also been honored internationally with recognition such as Distinguished Global Scholar and Dronacharya of the Year. Professor Srivastava sir received his PhD in Business Management from Osmania University, where he was the youngest doctoral scholar in Faculty of Management. His academic journey includes a master's in business administration with multiple specializations, along with professional credentials as a Microsoft certified solution developer. Beyond teaching, Sir is a sought after keynote speaker, session chair, and panelist in international and national conferences. He has been invited to deliver lectures across USA, UK, Thailand, Dubai, Canada, and many other countries, reflecting his global presence and influence. Sir has also reviewed and contributed to esteemed publications, including the South Asian edition of Philip Kotler's iconic marketing textbook, and authored several best-selling books. As a guide and mentor, he has successfully supervised 7 PhD scholars, with many more under his guidance. Professor Chetan Srivastava sir truly embodies the spirit of academic excellence, global vision, and dedication to nurturing future leaders. With great respect, I now formally invite Professor Chetan Srivastava sir to take forward today's session. And sir, the virtual stage is yours now.
Thank you, Salma, madam, for the introduction. I think you have raised the expectations of most of them to go in. I think I tried my best to be into that to go in. Thank you, Rama, madam, and thank you all at Rishi College. I always have a special place for Rishi College where they're doing a human service for women education and all. And have been to your college many times as you are all there to go in. And
Yes, sir.
I really like the way you all handle things and things to go in. So when you asked me, I couldn't say no because though I had a difficulty and my schedules was bad to
It's
say
our
that,
honor.
but I
It's our
always
honor, sir. It's our honor.
no, ma'am.
Thank you
It's
so
my
much.
pleasure also because so somebody is doing such a good work, I should also be able to contribute something for it to go in. So that was the reason. And I regret, I mean, the delay of few minutes, but anyway, we'll try to catch up, which happens to go in and do across. So when you talk about IT, IoT applications and education industry, IoT basically when it started Internet of Things, when this word actually when I heard it a long, long back, and I was very, I should say, uh, open to technology quite young to go in. And when I started working with internet in 1998 itself, actually, that was a time which was very difficult, and I wanted to do my PhD in e-marketing and e-business. Actually, it was my PhD which I wanted to do. And then I presented my, I mean, this is off the record, but I should share that with you how things have changed from that time to today's time to go in. So the departmental committee of Osmania, they said you can't do a PhD in this particular thing because they said, you don't get any data, you don't get anything. Internet was actually not available in India at that time too. We started early 2000 and we had cyber caves, analog connections, things to go. And it was so different to go, and things actually went on. So later, slowly we have seen the progress of internet in India, and today we cannot imagine internet, life without internet. There's a beautiful saying where they say, people say, in India, you may have a problem, there may be no atta with you, but you have a data with you. I mean, that's where we talk about atta is the food floor and all in villages and everywhere to go in. So there are a lot of villages where you may not really get the good drinking water and things to go in, but still you have an internet connection to go. That's the power of digital kind of thing which has gone in, and thanks to the efforts of the current government also to go in, they have brought a digital kind of revolution where everybody talks about a smartphone, everybody talks about internet to go in, and it has become, the technology has become pretty cheaper kind of thing to go. And I can have a smartphone for 1,000 rupees kind of thing with the internet connectivity, and I have a lot of applications which could go in. And the ease also has become so easy because I can actually, almost everybody is working on two regional languages and things to go in. So even if I mean, the barrier of English has gone, I can have anything in my own native language. So that has really worked on to things. So people are looking into, internet as the connection, the connectivity to go in, and how things are moving and things to go. With that thought in mind, how actually, it has seeped in, and it has actually, put into our thing. Every aspect of our life has been a part of it to go in. So I thought this topic was very apt, and I think industry 4.0, I mean, actually moved on to industry 5.0, we can say that, but still we are in the cusp period to go on, and we are working across. So let us move ahead and see how we are working on to it to go. So whatever I'm speaking here, as I say, is a disclaimer, is a part of it, is a pure academic purpose. It does not mean to hurt anybody, any sentimental region, feeling, whatever it is. I apologize if at all anyone is hurt, but I really don't mean to do it because it's either unintentional or unintentional. It's a coincidental. And apart from that, I thank all the original owners of the, a copyrighted material. So, cited, uncited, I do not claim them because I've used a lot of photographs, a lot of things, illustrations and all. They are not mine, but I have used them for academic purpose, pure academic purpose. I thank them all, and do in across. Yeah, the Internet of Things. So when you talk about this to go in, popularly known as IoT, I have my scholar also has done, you know, what should I say, reads the research and a paper onto this to go in. So he said, like, I have, done something on Internet of Things when they came in across with Internet of Things. So when there was something which is very, doing so popularly known as IoT. IoT is the one thing which has, which actually talks about it to go. So a vast network of interconnected physical objects or things? How do I define it? Because I thought we should start with the basics. That's what I usually do as a teacher. When we look into a different way to go. And so it's a vast network of interconnected physical objects or things. Things are something, things we talk about things in our life. They're all physical objects or things which are there. I had one good vision, about a dream in my childhood. I usually share this when I talk about technology to go. My childhood had a dream that I know when humans are lazy, right? I was very lazy, and I personally feel today also we're lazy because depending on a lot of things to do our work, everything to go. So I had a dream that when I come to my home, automatically the door should open. I don't know, after evening from the school, and I don't have to really work on to it to go. Then once you have this to go, and I come in, this AC should switch on, the TV should on, the oven should get the food that right to go. And so when you talk about these kind of things to go, so when you are trying to talk about this to move, so you are trying to really make it a point that nothing to do, it automatically it happens. And my music should start, my TV channel should start. That was a dream I had, but today that dream has become reality with the concept of IoT, where I'm connecting interconnected physical objects, physical things embedded with sensors, softwares, or other technologies that enable them to collect, exchange data over internet without any human intervention. That's something which it automates everything to go in, and it's a kind of thing which actually works, and where they do that data transfer, data exchange, data kind of thing to go in. Humans usually may give some instructions, and that would actually get into it to move. So when you are trying to talk about the kind of uh, thing which actually goes, and so that would work onto it to go. So when you are trying to talk about the Internet of Things, that is something which has actually connected every one of us with all the things which actually go in, and things are connected together to common media of internet. That's a basic idea and thought which we are trying to move on. So that's how the Industry 4.0, where we talk about industrial IoT, sensors, monitoring tools, automation, safety, quality, industrial apps, network centric. So, and so we are trying to get into everybody connected, everything connected. That's the basic thing. And the connecting thread is the internet, which actually doesn't. So, when you talk about internet, the potential of internet is such that, it has revolutionized everything which we are trying to work on to it to go. So, I hope I am making some sense, and we are into it to go in. So why is it called Internet of Things? That's always one thing which I always had. And why do we call it as Internet of Things? Because Internet of Things is integrates everything in with internet. So that's a basic thing to go in. So we are trying to talk about Internet of Things. Why is Internet of Things so important? Because that has been the current trend, current kind of thing to go, and it really works to it to go. That technologies are made possible, the AI technology, the connectivity technology. You see all that kind of thing to go into the course of time. What is industrial IoT, applications of IoTs, and then what are some ways where IoT applications are deployed, what industries can benefit. So that will be part of my talk and coming few minutes to go, and I hope I make some sense across to go in. So the Internet of Things can be ordinarily household items, sophisticated or industrial sophisticated goods, or even people, as long as they can be assigned an internet protocol and a data transfer over a network. So if I have an IP address, that's the basic idea. When I say today I'm kind of interacting with you, also my computer is connected to the computers of all of you. So when your thing is there, we have an IP internet protocol which works through TCP/IP, and the internet technologies will take, and we get connected, and we are in a loop which actually happens. So that kind of thing which takes it across to moving would be this. So I hope some of you, switch on your video so that you can feel like you are in a class to go, and we are fit to go. And that makes it really good to go, because we always say that you know though you may be virtually present, but a physical presence makes it, or let's try to make it that way too. In the cameras, whoever can do it should do it, because that's very important to go with, because otherwise it becomes a person to system, system to person to go in. So it loses the feel of a system, person to person kind of feel. So it's like, I remember when the COVID started, that was a time when we started all this. I mean, I used to do it, some of them, some sessions across the world. I mean, or some places where I'm chairing some sessions. If I'm not able to go physically abroad, and also I was trying to do it online. So we had that kind of thing, but it was very less. Skype was there and things were going. But today, when COVID started, this has become a routine norm. You talk about Zoom, you talk about Google Meet, you talk about many things have come at that time. We had all of them, which were actually a part of it to go. So now I see around almost 200 people logged in right now. We are all connected. So when you talk about that to go, we had this kind of sessions to go in. So internet was basically, trying to get into it, because the primary goal was to create of IoT is to create smart, very smart self-reporting devices. That is one thing which has to do, and understand an IoT. It's a smart self-reporting devices that can communicate in real time. So we are looking at an IoT as a real-time smart devices connected or self-reporting that can communicate so as to monitor, analyze, and respond to the environment. Anything which actually happens in the environment, these kind of devices are automatically thing to go on and connected and moving across to go. So what is the thing to go on? So when you are looking into the kind of IoT application, so IoT application is a collection of services. The collection of services which actually and the software that integrates data received from various IoT devices. So it's an IoT application is all about a collection of services and softwares which integrate data received from all the IoT devices. So any device which is connected, an application which integrates everything and takes it forward. It usually uses a machine learning or artificial intelligence technology to analyze data and make informed decisions. So it's basically an auto decision making where you talk about taking the data received from various IoT devices, and it uses an AI technology or machine learning to go in and analyze them so that the devices can take an informed decision to go in. These decisions are communicated back to the device, and the device then responds intelligently to the input. So that's how an IoT application works. An IoT application picks up all the kind of data services to go in, and then it move on to go. I hope this session is uh, as of now interesting. And if you're not able to follow, if you have some issue, please let me know or raise your hands. So why is it trending? Because today digital world is the order of the day, and you want to automate most of the processes. You want to make things to go. And so when you have this kind of issues to go. So Internet of Things have become a thing, app-based world, smart technology, smart tools, smart devices. We are living in everything which is there. When you talk about it to go, you'll be surprised. There are some weird application. We'll talk about them also after some time. I mean, could be absolutely something which actually goes in, but that will take care of your things to go. So let us get and understand IoT into a different thought to go in. So when you talk about IoT, which refers to the online networks and devices and objects, as we already discussed about it, and IoT devices. I'm sorry. So refers to the online networks and devices and objects which actually communicate with each other, in the same network via connections to data centers. So these are the devices which are connected and doing in, like, the application of IoT technology is very diverse and seemingly infinite, limitless kind of thing. It can be ranging from home security to asset tracking to chronic disease management to basically, do anything else to go in. So IoT companies are uncovering new opportunities every day, then that actually goes on. So we're looking at every time we're going to come with something new, which is there to go in and move across. The key characteristics of IoT basically, are there, which we are trying to talk about, looking at the basic thing which are connected to the key characters you want to be there, which actually are connecting to you, and the devices that are connected to uh, the thing to go, and you're able to follow it well. So So when you are trying to talk about, the thing, you have connectivity, you have sensors which are embedded, gather data about surrounding environment, such as temperature, condition control, and thing. I mean, I drive my car, which is an automated car, Toyota Yaris to go in. And then one day I was really worried. I had on my dashboard a sensor which was a light, green colored light, and then I was trying to find out. So I scanned my that picture to see what it is. So when I saw that, it was saying that, the tire pressure indicator. So that was there with the sensors were there and the tire pressure was less. So you had an indicator which talks about it. When the sensors which take care of your tire pressure, it is shown on your thing to go. And so when you talk about the dashboard, so now you are aware that this particular thing is happening, and you have the kind of data about it to go. So it's like, they sense the environment, the temperature. Your car basically talks about inside temperature, outside temperature. You have those sensors, and we have those wipers. Earlier we had a thing which was there, and rain is there and all. I need to do my wipers to go in and all. Now today you have a remote sensing, or the intelligent sensor kind of IoT things which are connected, where they sense the, you know the water falling, the pressure of it to go, and accordingly they take an action, and your wiper works. So what happens is, we are trying to talk about the environment and sensors which are connected, that makes the whole thing possible to go in. And software and technology to process the collected data, facilitate the communication between devices. You don't have to tell anything, the software which is there, which is the part of the learning to go in. So sensors and the softwares with the connectivity which happens, and they take into account, and this works on. So the key characteristics are there. Apart from that would be data exchange. We used to have something called EDI, electronic data interchange or exchange to go on. So these devices transmit and receive data, allowing communication with themselves and the larger system. So you have that kind of thing which actually works and moves on. So when you are looking into something which actually would like to do, and so that kind of thing, which actually, I personally, I mean, I just saw a chat where somebody is worried about attendance. So that's a basic problem. So if you have this, automated IoT can also track your attendances to go in. If you're logged in and the timings to go in, it always works on to it to go. So don't worry about it. So then to go in. So a data exchange happens, and things go. Intelligence, it talks about artificial intelligence and machine learning to analyze data and gain insights and make the real-time decision. That is something which is very important. Then how does it work? So what happens here is, like, when you look into the technology and look into the aspect of it to go, the sensors which are embedded in a thing, it could be a smart thermostat or a factory machine, or collect the data from its surroundings and things to go, and sensors and sensor devices, things to go. Another day, my driver was asking, sir, what is this button here which talks about cruise control? So, and it is showing water near that, and water kind of flowing. Then I told them, and that it's a sensor which works in wet roads. When it senses that the road is wet, the tires, the system works in, and that system makes it such that, the control of the tire goes well. You don't have to worry about skidding, worry about things to go. So you have some data which actually collects data from surroundings. You don't have to tell anything. I shouldn't tell my tire that there's something. So there's a sensor which is embedded, and this particular embedded kind of thing works. And so the data collection becomes these sensors play a major role in a thing. A thing could be a tire, as I was talking about it. It could be, your wiper. It could be an indicator. It could be the body of the thing. We have those body sensors of the car. If anything is coming between 1 meter radius of it, you will get the beeps to go. So that kind of thing which works in, then that is sent over network to a cloud computing based system, or thing, or your GPS system, which most of us are following today for the Google Maps we do. And so that works over, the data is sent over a network, over a cloud computing, and it interacts with all other devices, and you get the instructions. You'll be wondering, how do you get that the inch to inch, meter to meter kind of directions, and if you change your route, again the route changes, and anything to go. And so it's all about the data collection with the sensors, and data transmission through a net, and which is a cloud based system, or any other devices to go. And then the data is processed and analyzed to identify patterns or trigger actions to go in. Now, how does it work, and you have an action response kind of thing, followed by when the system initiates a response, such as adjusting the thermostat's temperature, or sending an alert or optimizing a manufacturing process, so on and so forth to go in. And then we have a software and other technologies, the processes, the collected the data and facilitate the communication between devices. So software plays an essential role here to go in, and that takes care of, you know, things to work. So when you are looking at some examples before we take into further more understanding to go, and could be smart home devices, as I was talking about that to go, and like, I was talking about my childhood dream and how that dream has become a reality today, where everything become a thing to go. And so we are looking at the smart thermostat, security cameras, voice assistants like Alexa or Google Home or something to go in. So they are basically, they take care of everything which actually goes on and works on to move, or the wearable technologies. Now today, most of our people have those watches which are smart watch kind of thing, digital watches which takes care of monitor fitness trackers, how many steps you have walked, and what are your BP parameters, the heart rate monitors, then also oxy monitors. So they are trying to talk about all those fitness wearable technologies which share the health data. Some of these devices are directly connected to your doctor, they're directly connected to your hospital, wherein in case any aberrations or any abnormal readings are there, you are getting an alert, and doctor also gets an alert, and you are going to immediately get a response from there what to do. And you are alerted, people are alerted around you, so that your life would be saved, or you could be given a right treatment or right time. So there are a lot of examples like that. I'm sure most of you would have been using, or at least seen those smart watches, smart devices which you wear, which will keep track of the fitness. That's a fashion there. It's not pretty costly also, you can actually get it a good one, very good one, in couple of thousands to go in across to go. Then industrial IoTs, factors, in factories, and all devices monitor performance, maintenance needs, optimize the production. They look at how things happen, they send the industrial data, so on and so forth, or GIT solutions like just-in-time inventories. Today we talk about that vendor managed inventory. So all that basically, would work on to the kind of uh, industrial applications of IoTs, where we talk about IoTs, where you are trying to look at those things, and the data is sent to the main server, and the server takes a decision to go in, and it sends a signal what to do, and so on and so forth. It optimizes the work of it to go. And then also today, when you talk about, how can we miss out on the most important profession, we would say farmers, because without them we can't live. In the food is essential, and they are the people, and one of the most underrated, unfortunately, profession is the farmers. And we do not have that feel for them, or most of us do not have the feel for what they do, because we get a ready plate to go in. But if you look into that, you can do anything, but I cannot automate agriculture, I mean the basic process, but I can help them out to sensors the moisture, soil moisture, weather condition, so that I can optimize the crop irrigation, use the right technology, right kind of sowing seasons, right kind of fertilizers. Also, what happens is, we are trying to make agriculture also smart, so that the farmers do gain. So there's some of the examples before we get in. Why should we do all this? Because that's an the utility. Because until I know the use of it, I really don't want to get into it to move in. So the Internet of Things, anything or any devices would look in, anyone, anybody, any service, any kind of business, any path, any network, any place, anywhere, any time, any context to go. And so everything is connected. That's what is the whole thing to go. And anything on the earth, anything on the people, everything could be done into a one connective kind of thing, the medium being internet. And you have an IP protocol which actually takes care of things to go in and move on. So I'm sure all of you would also get into this anything, anytime devices, and more into it to go in Internet of Things. That's a beautiful word to go in, and I should really appreciate who has coined that word, and Internet of Things to move in. Now we talk about smart cities. Today we are looking at the smart villages, smart cities. I mean, and just to take it across. We are looking or working on a place where devices have become smarter around you, and things are becoming smart and smart and smart, and now people are becoming dumb and dumb and dumb. That's a irony of it to go on, because smart devices are becoming more smarter, people are becoming more dumber because we have become dependent on them to go in. That will be only irony, but that doesn't stop us to go in, and possibly our natural intelligence at any given point of time would be overpowering your artificial intelligence or things to go. And I mean, just to keep it aside, we're looking at applications. When you are looking into the smart cities, connected mobility, health and fitness as industrial applications, smart homes, education, entertainment, wearables, as we're talking about it, consumer electronics and things to go, and they all will get into to go. And so I can actually say Internet of everything. It's just not an Internet of things. I can say Internet of everything, because that works go. And so you can have a smart refrigerator which would send you a signal on your phone. Which I told you to pick up my milk on the way home. Don't you listen anything I say? So that's a device talking to another phone to go, and so which actually works onto it to go, where we are looking in a way where everything internet is connected and everything goes, and life has become pretty automated kind of thing. Everything has been a part of internet to go in, or internet of things have become internet of everything. So this would be the final kind of look which actually goes, and so it's all about this to go. Internet of things now. So, well, you are looking into the kind of thing to go, and I couldn't agree more. So that's what it says. And so when you are trying to talk about, it's all about Internet of Things now. So I couldn't agree more. That's the basic thing which actually goes and works on it to go. So you can see a dustbin talking to a glass to go in, or things to go. So we are trying to have this kind of thing, devices talking to each other and move on to go in and work across. Today, IoT is used in cities. Smart traffic lights communicate with each other to manage traffic flow better. You have seen, you are having some different thing, when a vehicle is there, you would see some words there. How many of you have remember seeing those words which are displayed when signals are there, red, green, and orange? So when you have that, you also have something called, three words are there, M and L, which talks about VAT. You would have seen it. I don't know how many of you remember UATs. How many of you remember seeing that? Talks about a signal talks to another signal and says that it is gonna be there, where you look into that, automated kind of thing. So they look into the regular traffic and the road to road, the traffic, that they count the number of vehicles which are moving and all, automatically take the how much seconds, I should stop the signal so that the traffic movement is eased out and so on and so forth. So you are having that kind of managed flow to go in agriculture. You have sensors which send the soil data to farmers about moisture levels, helping them decide when to water the crops, when to do, and what kind of things to go. So a lot of things which are happening. India is still to work on to more onto agriculture, but healthcare we have really picked up and to go, and it helps in monitoring patients, basically vitals, and sending dollars to doctors when something seems off. Like as we're talking about it, the smart devices today, most of people are getting into the kind of medicine which actually helps you. Those who really require a care to go, and you have a smart device which takes care of everything, and it keep monitoring your waist vitals and vital parameters. You don't have to have a nurse with you or a doctor with you. You have a 24/7 monitor which is in form of a device which is an auto sensors device which is connected to internet, connected to the doctor, connected to the system, connected to the servers to go in, and they get the alert and you get the alert when something are bad to go in, and so on and so forth. So you have a healthcare is also revolutionized with this kind of thing to go in and move on. So I'm sure we are doing good. Am I bit fast? Hope okay, right? You should be able to have the face. Yeah. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if any questions are there, you can raise your hands. We'll have them in between also, in case somebody wants to wait. So then you talk about Internet of Things. You can look at the water utility sensors. That's one beautiful thing where saving of water, saving of things to go in. Where you talk about until with the moment a hand is sensed, the water comes in. Then you don't have to waste water, utilities, and all the condition, contaminant levels. All that thing comes in electricity. When you talk talk about smart electricity, which is there, stolen electricity metering and so on and so forth, which works, and so that your power distribution process goes well. We are just looking at how Internet of Things is being used in industry today, and most of it to go in before we really get into the education component of it to go. So smart agriculture, the small, as we were discussing about it, the experience to get to a technology driven approach, that's going to be wonderful kind of thing where you talk about the farmers really getting benefited from technology, and to go in that coal mining, with any mining actually talks about optimization, use of safety of people, because that's something where you are trying to monitor the mine across the conditions of it and so on and so forth. That actually, works onto it to go. So when you are trying to get into it to go in, so when you are basically looking into the kind of the applications of it to move, so then data security. So that is something which actually is also vital, because whenever you have this kind of thing which is there, so which basically talks about securely tracking and things to go. So when you are basically looking into the kind of access over the internet and so on and so forth, when you're training, you don't have to worry about your security issues also, because it is a foolproof kind of thing, which takes care of your data, because the financial data being done automated. You have data chat, smart bots which do the sales price negotiation, shares negotiation, do the trade and everything which actually goes on. So you always have this to go on. Now, when you look into the IoT in education, this where most of us are, more eager about it to go. And so when you are looking into the IoT in education, this basically, a thought which talks about two-way thought. Some people have a fear and their thing, and we also had in the beginning, yeah, come on, if it becomes a technology-driven teaching, what would happen to the whole the system where your teacher-driven system and things to go in? One way to go in, or other way would be basically like you know. Uh, you have the kind of thing to go the but technology has to be welcomed with the thing to go, and you adapt to a technology, and rather than doing, you have to go with the change and things to go. And so we have done this particular thing very well, which actually goes in where we talked about IoT in education. We're trying to make the learning smarter. That's the basic idea to go. And so today we talk about learning at the ease pace to go in the your own will, your own time, your things to go. So there are a lot of things which are happening across in the education, and Internet of Things is making a wonderful foray into it to go in. So why do we need this Internet of Things? Now, the basic idea here is Internet of Things connect everyday devices, as we were discussing, enabling them to connect, contact. I mean, there's some small blur, I think. I don't know. Some of the reasons which you need the IoT, let me tell it for you. So you have a improved quality of life, because that's what we want to do, because it's a real-time data monitoring. So it is real time which actually is happening. So it improves the quality of life, efficiency in business operations, because human intervention is reduced. And when human intervention is reduced, devices talk, there's no time lag, there is nothing to go in with. You're going to have something which is very, very wonderful to go. And then you have a transformation in healthcare. Today, we are seeing that the healthcare is able to reach to people remotely also, basically, because telemedicine or anything to go in, because we are trying to monitor the condition of people through internet or things to go in, automated kind of thing, which actually works and moves across. So when you are trying to look into the kind of disaster management, we had tsunami warning systems, we had the flood warning system. Today we talk about cyclone warning systems. All of them are connected, and you have those data which is real-time data, which is monitored and sent across to go in. And this stronger data driven innovation, which is actually the kind of thing to go tomorrow. Once you do, and you have one single thing, like for example, Aadhaar card, people have this issues with them, and there are a lot of private privacy and other issues also, but leave that aside. But if you're looking into it to go and the data, once I know a data, Aadhaar card, I can get to know about everything about the person to go in. Or if I get a PAN card, I know all the transactions. So that kind of thing actually goes, and then they're creating enhanced consumer experiences because the systems talk to each other and things to go in. So it helps you to they all look at your food choices, they look at your work on to go in. So whenever you're shopping online, when you're doing browsing data online, so it gives you the data links or data kind of things or environment sensors that what you are interested in, that those pop-ups come in, those kind of things come in. So it makes your experience wonderful, then future ready infrastructure. So we have to look into not today, the coming generations or future of it to go. And so when we had the computers to go, people really had an issue with them. But today we're talking about smart devices, things to go. So smart cities, urban planning, and all of them come into go. And so there are lot many things which are there, which work onto it to go and works. And so now the Internet of Things have made our life easy. That's what we want to see. And end of the day, any technology, anything which is there makes our life easy. That's something which has to happen and go in. Because today, when you talk about this bit to happen, when you say, whatever I do, any invention is to make your life easy. That's the basic idea. Because, I've invented anything, that particular thing goes in. It could be a wheel, it could be a electricity, it could be the today internet, or it could be the Internet of Things today. It should make your life easy because one, it is connected world, and connected, communicated world, and automated world kind of thing where you know your influence, your interference, or human interference is the minimal, yet they gain the most. That kind of thing goes in. So the Internet of Things, which have actually made devices, have made the life easy. If I do in sometimes we feel we are bogged down with a phone with us and things to go on a device, but otherwise our lives have become pretty easy to go in and walk across. I'm sure most of you agree with that. Now, earlier, the AI in those times was like the system should detect something and, tell you error has occurred. So you correct the error and things to go in. But AI of tomorrow, your talks about it. It's already there today, but still to go and have your blood sugar is low currently. So it's an auto sensor. Look at that. You have ordered a roasted vegetable. You forgot today your wedding anniversary. Some kind of a reminder, some kind of thing to go in, which actually goes. So you have a sensor which takes care of these kind of things, which actually work onto it to move and go in. So when you are looking into the kind of AI of tomorrow is gonna be very, very different kind of thing. It is absolutely real-time monitoring, real-time kind of thing to go in, and it takes care of your things to move. Now, you had this, it's only just a later vein, because it's a costly affair when we think about technology, complexities, and all. So, due to budget constraints, we bought a low cost AI system. Now it is really proving to be artificial with no intelligence at all. So that's the basic idea when you talk about it to go. When you're looking into technology, your investment into technology is must. And if you are really investing properly into the technology, you're gonna want to have returns. So if you are really not into a very truly, investing into it to go in budget constraints, all of us do have this, institutions have everything. But beyond that, that will help you. So investing into a good AI system, good Internet of Things is must to get the most benefits out of it to go. Now, that's an thing example how uh, IoT device works or things work in. So digital the toothbrush, how many of you are I think most of us are aware of it now today. You have an automated digital toothbrush which says automatically, it gives instruction, change my brush, don't push hard, recharge me. So it was smart toothbrush that it takes care of itself to go in. So sorry if toothbrush, I'm unable to fulfill all your requests at this time to go in. So it makes all the kind of thing, real time sensing, real time data, which actually goes in and works onto it to move and works across. So Internet of Things and the system, how it works, uh, explained easily in a simple format. Data is collected, then you have a data processing machine and machine learning, and you have an automated response. it's a two-way communication. The data is collected, the data is sent to a data processing and machine learning. And when the machine learning happens, you have an automated response, which actually comes onto it and go on. So when you are looking into it, when you are trying to talk about it, to go. These kind of thing helps, and because it's a two-way communication, which actually it helps your devices to talk with each other, and the process happens, and you also get an automated response, which is very, very pertinent and helping you to take a corrective measure before something really happens and goes on. So when you are looking into the kind of uh, issue to with it. So this is a system which how it works and moves on. So when you look into this IoT system, IoT on education, so when you're looking in, you might have a smart teacher, smart board, smart kind of things to go in, and you have students who are basically connected and things to go in an IoT module and things to go. And then when you are trying to talk about you know things to go and uh, works across. And I believe most of your people are worried about their attendance as students, do, and because certificate plays a role and things to go. And possibly, I wish some of them focus on the session than attendance to move. And it will anyway come. So, Internet of Things, which actually goes, and why this we should go for IoT in. I think so. Possibly, there's a research which says, almost 70% of the students are bored all the time, some way, student, the kind of thing which actually goes and goes across. There's a lot of boredom in the traditional way, when it all depends, but 80% of the surveyed kid feels that they are under constant stress. And 75% of the school attendees answered, "How are you doing?" question with a negative reply, because when you ask them, you say, "Yeah, I'm not doing it." So then you talk about implementing your IoT use of education technology in education. That would actually, make the thing to go. And you can see the smiles on the face of people. Smart classrooms, we talked about it today, where we are trying to do in. It need not be, school. It could be move on to higher education also, but a smart classroom will help you to make it better. The illustrations become good, and the interest levels of students move up. The boredom gets down. The curiosity increases. So many advantages. Technology is a good tool. If I'm using it as a tool, that will really go well with things to go and. I'm sorry. So, when you look into that, the features we were trying to talk about, it would be connectivity. The scaling also is very important. Can I scale down to a higher level of it to go and scaling, sensing? Then you talk about analyzing to go and AI is the root thing of it to go and endpoint management, automation, security, integration, active engagement. So that we are targeting at an active engagement using your IoT to go in, and that will focus on it to move. So. That's a good thing, I had to unplug the smart toaster. We were sending inappropriate text to the microwave. Devices are talking to each other. That was only a joke to go on, but talks about, I had to unplug the smart toaster. It was sending an appropriate text to the microwave. So toaster is talking to microwave, and that goes in and goes across, which actually walks in and talks about how devices are interacting with each other and to go in. So. Wow, you have scored 100 out of 100 in your test results, and just to say how things are happening. So, cyber security job interview. So that's an interview about cyber security, how you can reach into go. And so when you are looking into the cyber security thing, the persons I logged into your system last night, downloaded the test paper. I wanted to download the offer letter also, but thought I'd leave it to that. That's how, when you get into a technology thing to go in, and if you are not keeping that robust, which actually goes in and works across. So, Internet of Things talks about these three things: anytime connection, any place connection, anything connection. So it could be any time, any place, anything. So that's on the thing to go in on the move, outdoors, indoors, night, daytime, anything time to go on. It's absolutely which goes on and goes across. Then while you are on the move, outdoors, indoors at the PC, wherever it is, between the computers, human to human, not using a PC, human to things, using generic equipment or thing to thing, which talks about it. When you're connecting everything, which it could actually be worked across with things to move in. So this is how the, you know, penetration of IoT connected devices moved on. So when you are looking into the penetrations of IoT devices moved on 15 last 10 years, you would have seen it's almost 5 times kind of thing to go in and work across. Where you're looking in 15, it was 15.1 billion kind of thing. Today it is almost around 75.44 billion, which actually is the connected devices worldwide. So once this particular thing is there, which actually goes in and works across, and you are trying to talk about having this to move, you know. So the IoT society or integrated Internet and of Things society, the knowledge integration. We are looking at this knowledge integration, which talks about a digital world, virtual cyber world, and a real physical world. So the three worlds we are integrating into it to go, and the digital world, the real physical world, the virtual cyber world, which is virtually existing. And I'm going to do in across with the data integration, things integration, and semantic integration, which actually gets in everything is integrated and connected and things to go in and work across. So when you look into the IoT applications across industries, just some example to go in: banking and finance, manufacturing, retail industry, healthcare, real estate, government or public sector, education, which actually goes in, and these kind of things which actually work in and move. So is how it is to talk about Internet of Things in education and how things are moving. So when you are looking into that thing, to what is the Internet Education of Things, IOET, where we say wireless internet network of connected interphysical devices which are integrated into education environment. So we're trying to look at internet, you know, uh, based physical devices that are integrated into educational environment to facilitate the enhancement of learning, teaching, and administration and management related activities. So entire gamut of operations which are there, part of your education management would become a part of it, automated Internet of Education things. And this IoT application or education application will take care of this to move in. So it could be an energy management. It could be accessing the classes remotely and securely, monitoring health of the students and staff. Could be things, smart boards, supervising disabilities, attendance and exams, assessments, safety enhancement. So AR in artificial reality in education. So everything you're trying to talk about a part of IoT applications which actually go in. So that will make your learning, make your internet. Application of education very, very useful to everybody which are there, which actually goes in and move. So the benefits, it would be a smart classroom, smart library, smart data, then smart healthcare, smart hostel, smart teacher. That's the we all want to be smart teachers, right? Obviously, end of the day, I'm sure all of us would love to be smart teacher and smart administration, and end of the day, the output would be smart learner. So that's the basic idea when targeting it. IoT helps you to do that particular thing and work on. So the application which are there could be data collection. Start with data collection. You have new generation of textbooks which are IoT enabled kind of thing. You have a communication network, advanced securities, and education management software. All those devices are connected, and your IoT takes care of learning to go in and move across. So when you are looking into an applications of IoT in education, you have universal applications which you can see, which can be used anywhere, anytime kind of thing. To go in smart boards, smart sensors, smart tablets, smart attendance trackers, so on. So it could be anywhere, any kind of thing to go in that universal application. Then you also may have specific kind of thing to go in special IoT application for K-12. K-12 would be KG to 12th standard. It could be high school, primary school, or Montessori to primary to middle to high school kind of thing. Everything which actually goes in special IoT applications, which would be there. Then you have a smart climate control, smart security protocols. Everything becomes a part of your thing to go. And then IoT for higher education, where most of us are in smart campus management, smart scheduling of operations, smart scheduling of classes, smart scheduling of exams. Everything becomes a part of your thing to go in and work across. Now, in interactive gaining of knowledge, because once you talk about this implementation of IoT, you are looking at interactive sharing and gaining of knowledge, which actually goes, and then poster boards into IIT enabled boards. So these IoT enabled boards are well connected remotely with any other thing. So anything which is there, this could be shared access, then things to go in and work, which actually goes in. So learning it anytime, anywhere. This is one beautiful concept. And even the NEP today talks about student-centric learning, or learner-centric learning, I should say, not student, learner-centric learning. So learner-centric learning talks about how do we have this kind of thing where learning at your own pace, at your own time, at your own kind of thing to go in. So when you are looking at the kind of thing which actually goes, and so when we are talking about how do I do in anywhere, anytime, so I can learn from my home, I can learn from my gym, I can learn from anywhere. So I have a smart device connected, and my smart classroom would take care of it to go in, and it is independent of timings and all things to go. So I learn it with time where I feel that I have more energy and thing to go. That works. And so superior safety features that would actually talk about because a very robust kind of system and everything to go, that works. And then all the chalkboards, I mean, still love to write with those black and white boards, except that I have the dust allergy of chalk pieces, and most of us do have. But otherwise, chalk and talk would be a wonderful mechanism. But still, when you talk about it, this IoT in application talks about smart boards, which talks about and buy to or near down to the chalkboards or marker boards or anything doing. But still, we prefer to have, we could be a smart board where you have a smart pen, you whatever you have been doing with your chalkboard or waterboard, you do it online, and that you can take a printout of it, directly, and things to go. And so that kind of thing which actually goes in attendance monitoring, since many of the people are worried in attendance, I am seeing, chat window of this session also, attendance sheet and all to go in. So possibly if I have a smart monitoring of attendance kind of thing where everybody is connected, so the kind of thing happens which actually goes in. So people will not be worried about it to go. I know which actually works in to go. So attendance monitoring system, not to kind of thing which actually takes care of it to move. Then solutions which has, as we already seen, the communication network. Then you have a new generation of things to go, and advanced school management would be addition, which we talk about. How do I do in school? Need not be only your primary schools, it can be anything which actually goes, and this actually works and takes it forward to go. Yeah. I hope we are making some sense. We're going through halfway down, and any questions, any clarifications before I move forward? You're all there? I see 202 people, and only 2 people are seen on screen. The 200 are off the screen. So, I mean, does it say that you're all online, or that's how our students do? And because you know, good Dr. Aleem, I could see you. So I wish, because that's what happens when you have a thing. We log in and you know do our works. So that kind of thing doing. So possibly I always tell people, uh, how smart your systems might be, people find out a smart way out. So let us not get into that mode, but I wish, if you're all doing there, and as teachers, I know it's our thing to go in and go across, be there, and our time and your time goes well. So coming back to it, to go in Internet of Things, improve data analysis, that talks about a wonderful kind of thing which actually works in, where when you have this thing to go, you have an Binod Kumar, I remember to see him also. Hi. So when you talk about it, to improve data analysis, enhance security, streamline learning, which is absolutely streamlined, and you have better collaboration, which actually goes in between peer learners, peer or teachers, and across the world. So you can have this kind of thing which would really help a learner process to go in. Now, the most common devices which are used in classrooms, when you talk about it, to go IoT devices. Let's just have a thing to go in. The first comes your interactive whiteboard. So that's the one thing to go in, which actually talks about the device which connects everybody to go. And then you have your ebooks, tablets, the mobile devices or 3D printers, student ID cards, noise or sound level trackers, the security camera and videos, room temperature sensors, electric and light maintenance, lighting and all kind of things, smart HVAC systems, attendance tracking systems, wireless door locks, so many things. You think of a device today, you're having everything as a part of your common devices used in the classroom to move. Which comes when you are looking at the challenges of generative AI as well as the kind of IoTs to go in, there aren't any icons to touch. How does it work? So if the child today looks at a normal blackboard or a green board or things to go in, they don't see those smart boards to go. So they say, where are the icons which to work in? So that's a big challenge how it goes. And so the IOA challenges in education talks about planning complexity. So planning and IoT for a system for entire learning is complex because I need to take care of details, minute details, involve everybody, and the commitment to happen, the things to go in, and apart from that, receptivity to technology, which actually goes in because many of people are not receptive to technologies and kind of thing to go in. Then you have the kind of tech expertise required. Do we have the technology expertise with us to go in, which is the well required and things to go, and lot of data which is there, a massive data actually when you talk about it to go, and it had to be overhauled and then plan. When you look into the again the complexity happens there, then the high costs which are a part of it to go in, because the cost of doing all this is pretty high. It includes most of the tangible costs and also some intangible costs like how actually it happens and how it goes and then works across to go. So then when you are looking into the kind of thing, the challenges would be high cost infrastructure, then security and safety issues, then the complexity happens. So when you are looking into the kind of thing which actually goes in, so you always have this kind of thing which actually works in and moves and talk about complexity and security and all this is a big challenge, and we need to solve them. And the cost, how do you do it? Because that is a layoff of for future returns and things which actually go in, or making things smarter or based at a cost thing to go that works in, and how do I find out ways to get out of it to move. So that's a small thing to go where I talk about to be or not to be a good boy, and was the question. So when a student gets into this and offline to online kind of thing, AI doing it for you. I asked a smart speaker if it is was eavesdropping. You have a smart speaker eavesdropping on our conversations. It is called a lazy person who can't even load a dishwasher. So it makes like machine learning. So what happens is when you talk about it, the smart devices at home keep learning. There's always a lot of issues to go. And maybe I have a smart TV, may have a smart sofa, I have a smart glass to go. And so that all learn or move on to it to go. And now the question here is, in this world, high tech versus high touch. Now, the moment it goes and IoT talks about technology and too much of technology to go in high technology. So how do I do this versus? So I always tell people that it is not the high tech versus high touch, the human touch. It has always to be high tech plus high touch. A technology we should do, and because the human touch should never be lost. Because I mean, machine to machine, all the automated systems are there. Everything is there. We are saving costs. We are saving time. We are making it effective. We are also, reducing the human errors and everything to go in. But the whole issue is, where is that human element, the touch to go in? So the classrooms, smart classrooms were there, but the touch of your teacher is missing, that human touch. So we are looking into that to go. It's always has to be high tech plus high touch, not high tech versus high touch. So this particular thing is important aspect we should remember to go. So we are getting into today integrated generative AI into higher education, because we are looking in chat GPTs, looking into things to go, and though it's a small component of it to go, where you're trying to look in all automations of it and everything, it also is contributing to IoT as a part of it to move in and go across. So while you're integrating this to go, one second. what happens here. So this is what I wanted to go in. So 24 by support is there. I can the challenges are integrity and all to go in. And when you're trying to talk about automation, the same concept happen here, the lack of awareness, technology barriers, resistance to change, ethical privacy, and all that thing becomes a part of it to go and work across. So let us look at some of the applications of IoT in real life, apart from what has been being discussed and seen. This is a beautiful flower of IoT, industrial IoTs to go and industry automation, autonomous vehicles. Today we talk about driverless cars, drones which are pilotless planes, and you talk about other things to go. And so smart robotics, smart cities, power management, then smart manufacturing, smart grid, and the virtual kind of machines. So we are looking at the kind of thing for fog computing. When you look into the smart logistics, when you are looking at all of them basically to go. So when you are trying to talk about the kind of applications which you are able to see. So when you are basically like the kind of smart devices, the kind of things which are there for you would get into it to go where you are trying to look into the kind of applications which should work on it to move. And so we are basically into a system which works on it to get into it. 1 second. Just give me a second. Yeah. So when you are looking into the kind of thing to go in, so you always have this kind of thing to go and move on. So Internet of Things talks about heavy machineries, variables, phones, TVs, applications, home monitoring, home automations, healthcare, factories, or an entire automation happens, smart cities, transportation, everything actually becomes a part of it to go in and work on to go in. Now, this is how it actually gets into to go. You have a cloud or edge to go in, which connects agriculture industry to this to go in. Or it talks about the smart manufacturing, smart home care. It connects to everything to go. And then you have a smart grid or communication, which takes care of this to go and connect it to the people. And so you are basically looking at these kind of things, which actually would go in a long way. So transport and logistics, where it talks about the fleet management, goods tracking, which actually would do. And for example, one day I still remember, we was talking to the GHMC commissioner. We met him on was sharing a dash with something long back. So we were talking about how he has automated the kind of waste disposal systems, and also they know that where which bin has to be cleared, which bin has not to be cleared, and so on and so forth. So how do you monitor this? And we had an automated technology, RFID technology. So in case there's an issue with that, they didn't pick up, the truck didn't move on. So we get to know at a real-time monitoring system that this bin has not been picked up. So that kind of technology doing so, or you need to know where your fleet, like for example, whenever you're trying to talk about your booking of parcels, you're doing in, for example, you buy something on Amazon, so it starts telling you the real-time updates. So that's all IoT which is actually working there, which goes on smart metering, smart grid management. When you talk about utilities and things to go, smart cities talks about parking sensors, waste management, and so on and so forth, and many more things actually. Smart buildings, this is something which is there, the smoke detectors, home automations, and so on and so forth, which would temperature control devices, which would be there, which would work on to your homes to go. Consumers variables, seniors or kid trackers, because you're worried about your children, infants kind of thing, or small kids or elderly people, senior citizens. So that becomes easy, the smart trackers for them. You get to know connected to them when they need in case of any emergency and all, you have it. Then industrial and, where you talk about process monitoring, control, maintenance, monitoring. So it's all automated today with all devices, and the data is sent to the servers, and any aberrations or any abnormal data patterns to go in, which actually gets analyzed and things. So you're gonna have seen, like, all those satellite launches, also the rocket launches, all that would get in our missile tracker systems, you name it, you're going to have those kind of things to go. Environment, which talks about food or monitoring alerts, environmental monitoring, the pollution controls. But I've seen that smart sensors across the device collects the data, real-time data of a street, real-time data of a place on pollution, and it sends the data to the main servers, and they get the kind of thing, this the pollution levels are high in this traffic zone. What happens, or traffic data is all of them actually moves on to it to go. That works in, so then agriculture, the climate and livestock monitoring and so on and so forth, which will get into it to move. Now, IoT talks about agriculture, which is one thing benefiting modern day farming. It talks about drones for field monitoring, automation. Still, India has to go in a big way into it to go, but I think we have started already, and I have seen some smart farmers doing this to go. We talk about drones for field management, pest management, and so on and so forth, which goes on, or even this security, safety to go in, or even keeping the pests at bay to go in, or you look at the no, basically for routine organization, maximum businesses, because they help you to directly connect with farmers, the producers, and things that will give you a lot of things to go. Then seed monitoring kind of thing, which actually is automated. Water management is one big thing which has been an gift of or a good thing kind of thing. IoT takes care of when to water. If the soil gets, the condition of the soil is monitored automatically with the sensors. Based on it, the water is fed into it appropriately for the requirement of the crop, so that there's a good nourishment to the plant to go in, and the water scarcity is also solved and things to go in. Or you can see that kind of the smart irrigation, livestock monitoring, smart monitoring, which talks about the data connected to satellite, and you have people like uh, give you the solutions for your problems. You have a smart greenhouse kind of thing. The yield of a crop estimation comes in, so you can actually know a lot of things in your agriculture would help you and things on. Then manufacturing sector, asset location tracking, which actually goes in, or predictive maintenance, that talks about how actually you have any maintenance of it which works, and facility management, quality control, very big area to go in, warehouse management, remote monitoring. Today I was talking about that GITs and all, they will work onto inventory management, remote inventory managements, then maximizing energy to gain and go across. So when you're looking into the kind of thing which actually goes and would get into it to go. So worker safety monitoring, very vital. It depends upon the temperature monitoring of devices, blast preventions, or like disaster management in an all organization, factory and all, mines, everything is works into it, or machine to machine communication would be an important IoT to go. Then top 10 in food and beverages talks about customers transparency. You talk about product recall. Then you look at food quality monitoring, energy efficiency to go, and food safety to kind of thing to go, or look into the supply chain visibility and validity to go, and logistics organization, the product recalls in case you have operational efficiency, energy efficiency, counterfeit detection. So all that actually gets into lot of applications get into food and beverage industry to go. And smart homes, as we already discussed, smoke or glass sensors, control appliances, reading appliances, so on and so forth. That goes in wearable, data resolution. So when you talk about it, to go heart rate sensors, health monitoring, motion monitoring. So all that works onto to smart cities, smart traffic, smart parking, or smart lighting, waste collection, so on and so forth. Smart grids talks about energy management, ecological vehicles, renewable energy. So that actually gets into it a big way to go. And industrial internet talks about machines and sensors, connectivity alerts, and monitoring to go. And then you have connected cars, as I was talking about that to go in navigation, entertainment, traffic management, hotspots, and so on and so forth. Then connected health, which talks about customer service, monitoring, alerts, sensors, so on and so forth. A smart retail talks about smart logistics, optimizations to go. Then look into the better collaboration. And you talk about the smart inventory, smart supply chain, real-time tracking and alerts, inventory management. Then smart farming, we talked about health assessment, then you talk about livestock management, soil management, precision farming, so on and so forth. A lot of it to go in and work across. Then in transport, five major kind of things, because we're looking at real time, some of them to go in. So efficient traffic management, it talks about the big segment is automated traffic management today, which actually goes and then toll and automatic toll and ticketing. We talk about our own toll and ticketing. Fast track is there, but still apart from that, you're going to have other technologies going to be helping it soon. So self-driving cars, yeah, we have discussed a lot, and what's of the advanced vehicle tracking or transportation monitoring. So vehicle tracking system also, because a part of it to go enhance security of the public transport. That is a vital kind of thing, and important application of IoT in automation of the transports to go. Security of public transport makes it making it robust and very safe to go in. Uh, that's about it to go. So before we can conclude, I would like to say whatever is the technology, whatever is the thing to go and smart way to go and what to go in, you always have to look at one part, individual social responsibility. Are you into that kind of social responsibility which you're taking? It's good to be smart, it's good to be there, but are you caring? Are you thing to go and are you a karma yogi kind of thing where you do your job with the utmost satisfaction for yourself and also for the stakeholders at play? Because doing a job or getting a smart work done and all is well and good, but am I doing my part of responsibility to as an individual towards the society or towards the uh, earth we are living? So do your part. That's what I always tell people. How smart it might be, how smart it might be, it makes a difference. That's a very, very important kind of thing. So make that difference. It goes and contribute to your part. Don't think it's a small thing. What difference it makes? It all makes a big difference. One day a person was walking on a seashore, and a lot of fish have come across off the water, and fish off the water means death for them. So this guy was a lot of fish there, and this guy was picking up some fishes and sending it back into the water, sending it to the ocean. So one person was watching him, tells him that, "Arey, yaar, you're putting it back and all the fine. There's so many fishes here. Your action, what difference it makes?" With so many, you can't actually do it. So this guy, while talking to him, puts another fish back into the water, and he says, "See, I may not be sure that what difference it makes to the entire world, but it should have surely made the difference to this fish which I have put into the water." So it could be small. It's like contribute like a squirrel in Ramayana during Ram Setu construction. It could be very small, but that small stays back for you to go. And whatever is your thing, you should do. And so then next part is, ask the wise man, tell me, sir, which field you can make a great career. So smart field is always there, but instead with a big smile, be a good human being. I'm sure that is something, because there's a lot of opportunity in this area and very little competition. So I wish that we all become good human beings. I mean, it doesn't mean that we are not, but enhance your, there's always scope for improvement. A good teacher is one who becomes, no, who builds you as a human being, just not your career. So you will talk a lot about technology, a lot about things. We talk about IoTs and all, but the most important thing is the human touch of a teacher, which and not only makes up your career, but also you as a human being to go and good human being. So don't try to be perfect, just be an example of a human being. Being human is given, but keeping our humanity is a choice. So I wish that we all take that choice and do it the best. So because when you die, I'm sorry, I'm using a tough philosophical statement here. People won't remember your car, your house, and all. They'll remember who you were, and be good, be a good human being, not a good materialistic. It's good to be materialistic, but use that materials what you have learned for the welfare of everybody. Because at the end of the day, we'll leave everything here and go away. That's the basic thing. So be the reason someone smiles, be the reason someone feels loved, and believes in goodness of people. How tough it might be, I know it's very tough being good. I know. You always have tough times being good, but because that's what we say, being good and straight. It's like this: the straight tree is always cut the first, the straight nail is always hit. But be the reason. Believe that somebody believes that there's some the goodness is still on. So the floor is open. Please feel free to ask any questions, because progress happens when questions are answered, but not you can ask answers of questions. So floor is open. Please feel free to ask me questions, and I hope I could do small justice to what has been there for me and things to go. So I hope I have you know uh, stood up to the expectations of all of you to go in. So Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. So let us get into it tomorrow. Thank you all. Have a great time. And Dugin, please feel free, ask your questions. I left this a few minutes for questions. You can always get to it and go. And thank you all. And it was wonderful being with you all. But one thing I should say, I'm sorry, but one small observation for some of the people who have been bothered about attendance. I know, yeah, come on, attendance is an important thing because you get a certificate based on it. But more of it, I personally believe we as teachers should be above all this. We should move on to things to go, and knowledge is power, and you do that kind of thing. Attendance and everything are materialistic things, and they'll come in and go on. So that goes in, but rest of it, I believe we have done a good thing. So I leave my connects here, so you can always get back to me in case you have a question to ask which could not be asked here because of time or because of any other thing. You feel free to get back to me, and I'm sure that I'll answer your questions, if not immediately, but you get your answers, because sometimes I miss because of my schedules or delayed answers because of my things, but you'll surely get your answer, that's for sure, and absolutely free of cost. So it was pretty good interacting with you all. Thank you all. I thank Rama Madam and Rishi College and Madam all to have this opportunity and thing to go. And so over to you all, man. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was really a very wonderful session. You took us from the beginning as to what IoT is and then the components of IoT. Beautiful examples there, illustrations there. And as usual, I mean, all your lectures have that human angle, which is very touching. And, though the topic is all about devices, Internet of Things, you put there the humanity there, which shows the importance you give to such things, ethics and values. Of course, we also believe that they are very, very important and above all these things. Thank you so much, sir, for the good session. I think we have few questions, sir. We will take them. Mr. Teja is asking, there are tools like ServiceNow, Salesforce, how these will connect it to IoT devices? Sir, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Teja, your question on how these tools are connected to all things. So, what happens is all these automation tools. Can I see your question once?
Yes, sir. There are tools like ServiceNow, Salesforce. How
Yeah, I got it, ma'am. Salesforce,
Yeah.
now how this will be connected to IoT devices. So what happens when we talk about the kind of tools to go in? So all this basically get connected to any of your smart devices. So either through technology, either through connectivity part of it to go in. So all of them get into, the kind of real-time data monitoring. There could be Salesforce, which could talk about, finding out their sales data and keeping the targets to go in sales you have made. And it comes back to your thing to go in, and it also talks about your incentive management. It also talks about profit management, everything. And your service now also talks about, some of the applications, it talks about the kind of need for the service. It's all like, all of them are connected to via internet with smart device. It could be a mobile phone. It could be an automated RFID systems. It could be, smart sensors, which would do the needful. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We have another question from Dr. Alim. Sometimes IoT infringes our personal space and privacy. What are your comments?
That's what I was trying to talk about it to go in, because the moment we talk about IoT to go in, it automatically, when it's a, always there's an other side of the thing to go in. Dr. Alim, rightly pointed out, because privacy becomes an difficult thing here because, for example, I'm using a smart monitor kind of watch to go in the entire real time kind of my thing, my operations, my movements, my things are monitored. So that really has an infringement of the kind of spies, I should say privacy to go. But good things come at some cost. So that has to happen because the real-time sensing would help you to monitor your health and take corrective action. But again, it infringes your privacy to go and same thing happens with anything to go because when you're connected, you are connected. That's it. Nothing remains private. You become public to go in. Though you talk about security, for example, today all those financial, I mean, if I use an UPI or smart technologies to pay, do all my transactions, end of the day, every transaction is trackable. So everything goes in, everybody think to go and you're on, the dot, anybody can track you. That's the basic thing to go on. So good or bad, that's a peril of a technology.
Right. There's another question from Dr. Deepak, sir.
Hmm.
All metro cities are facing traffic congestion these days. Can IoT help in improving traffic flow in a congested city?
Yes, absolutely. IoT has been doing a wonderful job in many places to go. And even in Hyderabad, I travel every day in a traffic zone. It's terrible, actually, I should say. I stayed Bakatpura and I traveled to Gachibowli, University of Hyderabad, an entire traffic zone. Earlier, I used to go at my driving time was 30 minutes from my home there, and at the most 40 minutes. I used to love driving, and I have been driving for last 20 years, kind of thing. But last 4 years, 3.5, 4 years, have stopped driving, almost stopped driving, and now I have a driver drive for me because the traffic has become so bad, actually, and the love for driving is slowly lost. I mean, I love driving back on highways. But when you talk about today's traffic management kind of thing, so the route plans and route, you look at your GPS systems to go in, they look at the traffic and they suggest you an alternate route. That's one thing. The traffic signal management talks about how much time I stay at a signal. Sometimes you wonder, yeah, come on, I'm stopping at the signal for 2 minutes. I'm supposed to be there for 20 seconds. But that 2 minutes is to see that the traffic at another junction is monitored so that you'll not have a problem in thing to go. And the smart way of doing it, and people don't do it. It's an automated system, UAT systems and other systems to go in, which automatically look at the traffic flow, look at the vehicular movements, and decide on traffic signal time, wait times, and also how do I do it? And they also suggest you real-time updates. For example, traffic police also gives you a real-time update if you're connected to your device is connected to them. You get a thing that you have a traffic at this zone. You can actually they suggest you an alternate route also. That's something which goes in. So I'm sure that the traffic problem, if not be solved, can be regulated.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Deepak, sir, would you like to share something? I see your video on and
Yeah,
you
Mr.
are
Deepak,
muted also for some time. So if you just want to have some small conversation.
No, I would just like to take this opportunity and I would like to thank everybody, the entire team of organizing committee, and especially Professor Chetan for giving his insights on IoT. So I was just expecting an answer from sir, and he has just given the answer. So traffic congestion is something which everybody is facing. We are also facing in Delhi. So it is same as I just heard in Hyderabad. So that's what I was asking. So good to listen to you, Professor Chetan. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Deepak. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. Dear participants, any other questions?
Yeah, I actually have the question. Myself is Teja.
Yes, sir. Please go on.
Yeah, there is a tool named ServiceNow. Okay, if that ServiceNow is the tool is controlled with a device that is a car. If the car is met with an accident, okay. Meanwhile, the car is going on the road. It is met with an accident, and any alarms or anything directions or anything is come from is purely controlled with that ticketing tool, which is ServiceNow. So how these IoT devices make use or connected with that particular tool, and we can get any information with that IoT tools, how it will be workful.
So you're on mute, sir.
The question which is there, basically what happens is when you talk about it, most of these applications like ServiceNow or any other tools which are the software thing which would connect your devices to go in. So right from the operation, the accident tracking or anything doing, for example, simple example, your seat belts. Whenever there's an propensity to crash, or when you have a sudden break to go in, you can see that your seatbelt gets tightened and you are saved, kind of thing. Or a device talks and you have an airbags coming up. Plus, all the people, like you have, if you have fed your numbers there in your phones and all, in case there's some danger kind of thing, or in case there has been a mishap there, it alerts to the sends a signal, like it's you have an emergency call on your mobile phone, that kind of system. The alarm sends into the alerts are sent to the people who are linked to your devices and things to go and automatically done. You don't have to do anything. If your car meets with an accident, and if your the ServiceNow app is provided, it goes to the no the service thing, it goes to the police, it goes to the medical, it goes to the friend, so immediate friends and family whom you have registered to go in, their devices which have been linked to it to go. So our IoT does that particular thing, and automated device to device talking becomes easy when, even if you are not in a position to do this, the device does it automatically. That should go in. That's how any tool should work in IoT. Yeah.
I hope that answers Teja, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions, dear participant? Last one question, but otherwise we will. Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for always being there with us and guiding us in the right way and right path. I take it as my privilege to also tell the audience that you are a wonderful writer, a poet, because I'm one of those fortunate people, those who are around you who get to read the beautiful odes which you write on various occasions. I really wait for something important coming up so that you pen down, you write something, and then you share with all of us. That's really, really very beautiful. That's one of your other features, which was not mentioned in your profile, but I thought I would share with everybody that you are a beautiful writer, a very good writer indeed, and always showing us the right path. May I request Salma ma'am to propose vote of thanks for this particular session?
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of Rishi UBR Women's College, Department of Business Management, and all the participants of this enriching FDP session. First and foremost, I extend our deepest gratitude to Professor Chetan Srivastava, sir, for delivering such an enlightening session on IoT applications in education and industry. Sir has briefed what IoT is, how it works in various sectors such as agriculture, health and fitness, and also in education sector. Sir has also explained regarding the role of IoT in disaster management systems, cyclone warning systems, emergency responses as well. Most importantly, Sir has briefed about IoET, IoT education applications, and also education devices. Sir has provided so many real-time examples such as health and fitness apps, GPS, smart traffic signals, utility sensors, smart classrooms and libraries, and many more, making this session even more interesting and interactive. Sir, your rich expertise, practice insights, and thought provoking perspectives has not only enhanced our understanding of IoT, but also inspired us to explore innovative ways of applying technology in both academic and industrial settings. I would thank AICT ATAL for providing us with this opportunity for effective learning. My sincere thanks to our respected Secretary, Ma'am, Ms. M. Rajashri, Ma'am, and our Academic Director, Madhavi, Ma'am, Principal Kameshwar Rao, sir, for constant guidance, encouragement, and support that made the FDP possible. My special thanks goes to our dedicated organizers, in charge Principal NSR Praveena Ma'am, and HOD Department of Business Management Rama Ma'am, for their tireless efforts in planning this event and for patiently addressing every query from participants with such clarity. I also extend my gratitude to technical team and support team whose contributions behind the scenes played an important role in today's seamless execution. Finally, I thank all participants for your active involvement and enthusiastic engagement. Your questions made the sessions even more meaningful. With these words, I once again thank everyone for their valuable presence and contributions. May we continue to learn, innovate, and apply these insights in our teaching, research, and professional journeys. Thank you all.
Thank you all. It was pleasure interacting with you all. Thank you, all of you at Rishi College. I know you are really doing good work, and I also thank the secretary, madam. Please convey my special regards to her.
Definitely, sir,
That
definitely.
goes in, and all of you are being there. And next time when you are on sessions to go in, it's for all of you. Try to keep your video on. That really makes a beautiful sense to go in. Maybe that is and again as Dr. Alim talked about privacy. So when you are on, that goes. I used to tell my students, while we started our online classes at COVID times, I used to tell them, you got an entry into my bedroom and my drawing room and my home directly while you are talking about the classes to go in. So technology comes at a cost to go in. So possibly keep it on. So it was pleasure interacting with you all. Wish you all a great time. God bless you all. So I'll take an off. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir,
Thank
for
you.
always being there with your guidance. Thank you so much.